Welcome back, guys. I am pretty excited because I have got a guest on that I've had several people reach out to me and say that I need to have this gentleman on. And I've got a chance over the last week to do as much research as I could. And man, this is a very, very, very exciting interview that I feel like we got coming up today. He is the creator of Hex.com. He's also an authority on crypto. You guys can see him all over the internet. He called the top for Bitcoin, and he has become a very, very controversial figure. He's the owner of the world's largest diamond, the world's fastest Ferrari. He's got the most expensive Rolex collection in the world, and he's given $27 million to charity. And we're honored to have him here today, Mr. Richard Hart. How you doing today, Richard?
Doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. So it was actually Rolo, and it was Miguel, and it was my man Justin Waller. They all three of them told me you got to have Richard Hart on, and I went back and I watched a bunch of your stuff. Now you can understand I live out here in Las Vegas, Los Angeles. There's a lot of crypto scammers out here. Like I live in the cesspool where they all live. Every one of them's got neck tattoos, a felony. They drive a fucking rented Lambo and have a fake paddock, and they're trying to tell me to buy shitcoin. And so when I hear this, obviously my first thought is, okay, here we go, to be super skeptical. The stuff that I saw from you, one of the things I appreciated was the mathematics. I appreciated the logic. I appreciated the fact that you were very open about a lot of the things that you talked about. I do want to get back into the origin story, though. You initially started making a lot of money with car stereos, foreclosures, mortgage, cleaner shops, and a sex shop. Can you talk about your origin getting into business?
Yeah, so like when I was growing up, I didn't have any money. You know, my dad didn't have any money, so he delivered newspapers at night and fixed air conditioners during the day. And that's what I did. I helped him, deliver newspapers and fix air conditioners. And then one day, I needed to go to the dentist, didn't have any money. He didn't have any money. So I started selling everything that I owned, and everything I owned was basically car stereo equipment. We used to do air conditioning for this manager over at BrainsMart in Florida. And, if the manager liked you, you just sell you a cost. And their cost was really good. So, I became an authorized dealer later, and I discovered that I was buying from the BrainsMart manager at 10% under dealer sheet. And then I became an authorized retailer and got worse prices, worse returns policies, and buying from the gray market from a larger company that got a better deal was vastly superior, I found out in hindsight, to actually being an authorized dealer, which was garbage. So, I was putting out, so after I sold the stuff, I'd use it for 2 years, sold it for about the same price I bought it for. And I thought, well, what if I put out ads for stuff that I don't have yet, but I know I can get a good deal on? And so I put out ads in a local newspaper called the Bargain Trader, the classifieds, for free. And people would call me and I say, yeah, I can get this stuff. Meet me at a gas station, give me half the money. I'll go get it, bring it back. You'll get the stuff. I'll get the other half of the money. And I did that over and over and over again until I had like $7,000 built up and I could afford inventory. And then I wouldn't have to drive every single time. I could take the popular products and just sit them in my room in my dad's house. And then, people buy the stuff and then they want to use it. And to use it, you got to install it. It's not plug and play. You got to wire it up to the car. So I started doing the installs. And then my dad would come home after doing air conditioning, and his parking lot there would be full of my customers, and it would be hard for him to get sleep. So he's like, you got to get a store. And so, I got my first store, hired my friends from school, and, one guy would do the installs, one guy would handle the office stuff. We eventually got another guy to drive back and forth to the wholesalers. And that left me free to learn the next business. And so the next business for me was to learn shopping cart software, search engine optimization, learn how to get websites ranked at the top of Google for popular, expensive searches. So I got good at that. And then we got a client that started doing well with mortgages. I'm like, okay, well, I'll start a mortgage company. Got good with that. And then we're like, well, what else can we sell on the internet? And, miracle cleaners, sex toys, tried cash advance loans, failed. Thank goodness, because it's a scummy business.
Can you talk about that real quick? Because you did mention,
sure.
Miguel said you mentioned something about this, the cash advance loans, that it was like taking advantage of people. Why is that?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Business?
Well, I mean, in certain religions, you're not even allowed to charge interest on money.
Yes.
So, for instance, it's
in Islam,
not okay in Islam. And then if you charge people more than what they can pay back, you're basically enslaving them forever.
Right.
So, if you actually look at who the customers are of these cash advance loans, it's all Black women, literally. And people don't realize that. And so what you're doing is like you're turning Black women into slaves pretty much, because you're trying to race them when they get their check to empty out their account before they can, to pay back your insane 30,000% per year loans that, many states have made illegal, thank goodness, because it's not You know, these people are making bad decisions that will bankrupt them basically forever. And it's similar to like gambling. Like if you promote gambling, you're promoting very harmful behaviors for humans. If you promote people taking loans at interest rates that are entirely unreasonable, you're promoting behaviors that are bad for humans. And so the good news is we only did like maybe 10 loans, and then the people just kept the money and never paid it back, because that business is actually all about collections. If you don't have good collections, you just lose all your money.
Right.
You're losing money up front to hope to get more back later. So I'm glad that business lost money. It's the scummiest possible business. Like it's like loan sharking, but without the leg breaking. So
right.
It's a terrible business.
And you had a sex shop? How did that work? And how did that end up?
Well, we had a store called XXX Toy Joy where we, tried to sell sex toys online. It also didn't do that well. I thought it would kill, because like people don't want to go into the store. Everyone's creepy in there. You'd rather just get it delivered to you, But I don't know whether people are like really sensitive to what they stick in their butts, or whether we needed better photos, or like, I don't know exactly why that one didn't work, but it didn't really work that good.
I'm gonna guess a lot of people are sensitive to what they stick in their butts. I
don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm gonna
just
guess.
Keep everything out of there.
Yeah.
Exit only. I have the exit only policy.
Exactly. Beautiful. Hey, so you did this, and then you did multiple businesses.
I got up to 115. Yeah, I got up to 150 employees, and we were doing 60 million a year in turnover. And then I'm like, all right, you realize that money doesn't really do what you thought it would. It's just a lot of problems. You're eating the same restaurants, you're listening to the same music, you're watching the same movies, and you just start losing friends over like they steal money from you. And you're like, well, I guess we can't be friends anymore. And then you have to learn all the ways to make your friends stay honest. Like I'd rather lose money and keep a friend than like take more risk that I lose the friend and the money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sucky, man. So I said, oh, well, you know what? I'll just go live like a king in Panama. It's only a couple hours away. Move down there, get the crap robbed out of me. Like,
so this is a really interesting story, because you talked about bearer bonds, and you talked about somebody actually stealing your house. I don't think anybody's ever heard of this. Your house was stolen in Panama.
Well, it's still a very common corporate structure to own houses with companies, because it's easier. Like you can change ownership of the company and not have to pay transfer tax on the house. There's like tax advantages. And in that country, they had bearer shares, which means if you hold the share, you own the thing. Like if you hold cash, you own the cash. If you hold a bearer share, you bear it, then you own, the company, and then the company would own the house. And so some guy he had a fake shareholder meeting that, maybe had fake shares, or maybe just pretended there were shares there, then changed the ownership of the house, changed the name of his company, all this stuff. And I give the real shares to my lawyer. My lawyer used those shares to get the house back, and then he just kept it for himself. So my lawyer stole. So I get my house stolen by criminals. Then the lawyer stole the house, and then it was just like, now what am I supposed to do? And then I later found out that guy became a lawyer in prison, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I got bad legal advice here. So, when you think about the third world and you think about all the bad things that happen there, and everyone warns you like, don't go, and you're like, yeah, but I Googled, it's fine. It's not fine. You're going to get annihilated.
Yeah.
Like go good places that measure well and do really well in the, corruption statistics. Like if you go on Wikipedia and you look up the corruption index, if where you're at is scoring poorly in the corruption index, it's a sucky place that sucks, and it's sucking for everyone there. It's just a matter of time until it sucks for you. It's like Miami. It's like, I was just in the States at South Carolina shopping at Best Buy, and I got stopped by the police for shopping in Best Buy.
Why? What happened?
I was buying so much stuff that they thought I was doing credit card fraud.
Oh.
I'm like, no, it's me. This is my card. It's my ID, and they match. And now I'm not going to shop here anymore. So instead of helping me out and helping carry stuff to my car, you called the police on me, and you guys came in the store to interrogate me. This is all disgusting. You should all feel terrible.
Yeah.
So like that never happens in the rest of the world.
Well,
the whole rest of the world, you're never getting pulled over by the police for shopping in a store.
Well, you think about it, it's like a scarcity mentality. It is South Carolina, right? There's like impoverished people that live there, and you're right.
Well, it's more than just that. It's because Americans are so goddamn stupid. The rest of the world has chip and pin. There's a chip in your card. When you go put your little card in the machine, it asks you for your pin, and then you put your pin, and they know it's you. Yeah. But Americans are too stupid to figure that out. So instead, what they do is they use swipe. And swipe, there's no chip. And so swipe means anyone could copy your card.
Yeah.
You get a card reader, you get a card writer. Cost $100. Copy anybody's card. And so now everybody's really, really worried if it's really you. But if you had chip and pin, you wouldn't be really, really worried if it was really me, because I'm the one that has my pin.
Right.
And then everyone would pay lower rates, and everyone would have less chargebacks, and everyone could buy more stuff, and you wouldn't have to call the police on people because it's a superior system. And you know what else solves that? Cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency also solves the chip and pin crap. You're like, yeah, you know it's me because look, I sent it to you, and you can't send it fake. There's no fake. There's no like, so, you know, cryptocurrency and chip and pin both solve the, I wonder if this is just a waiter at a restaurant using somebody's card that just paid for dinner. You know, like America's got a lot of problems, man.
Was there
Not great.
Was there physical intimidation when you were robbed in some of these? By the way, not just Panama, any other place where you felt unsafe when you were traveling. I'm always fascinated.
Well, I mean, there was a 10-person home invasion in my house in Panama too.
Okay.
In addition to that, so like 10 people in broad daylight knocked out my guard, in addition to not caring about the building security, and then just emptied the place in broad daylight.
Well, you weren't
and
there.
this is a public record.
Oh wow.
I wasn't there, but my girlfriend was there, so wasn't a fun time for her. She didn't enjoy that at all. Because she got tied up and, you know, had to open up the safes and all that.
Jesus Christ.
So, not great. Yeah.
So
Don't live in the third world.
I'm curious. You know, someone as wealthy and as well known as you, where are the places that you? I'm sure a lot of people want to know this. Where are the places that you feel are safe?
Hey, everybody at home, do you want to know where I'm at? You can't tell. You know why?
Virtual private
anonymous.
Network. Yeah.
All anonymous. You don't know where I'm at. Yeah, I'm connected to you by proxy.
For sure.
And you can't tell where I'm at. And then, you know, if I send pictures, I send them after I've already left.
Well, it's someplace
you could
with
ask
a lot
Kim
of sun.
Kardashian. You could ask Kim Kardashian how smart of an idea that is. I mean, she got robbed. She got tied up and robbed, and her security beaten up, knocked out in France. And she got her diamond stolen. So they're out here robbing Kim Kardashian and knocking her dudes out. You know, it's open season on people. So it's like, I'll tell you guys where I'm at after I leave. Yeah, I don't tell you ahead of time.
I just did a photo shoot, a destination photo shoot in Jamaica. We took like 250 girls out there, and I invited Andrew Tate. The first thing Andrew asked me, he goes, "Do you guys have security?" He goes, "I'm not going to Jamaica unless you have security." As I've tried because I mean these places are dangerous. You're right, because there's such a some place. It's the popularity that you have plus the inequity of wealth. That's what's going to motivate people to do this kind of stuff, right?
I mean, you share stuff about this all the time. Like, I don't even wear watches anymore. Like, I'm wearing a watch now for your show.
Yeah.
Here, look, guys, it's a $650,000 Jacob & Co. Casino watch. I don't even like casino games, but you can play roulette with it for fun with people. But anyway, you know, I don't wear that out. I just you ain't gonna find me with a watch outside because I'm not gonna put a bounty on stabbing me.
For sure.
Because in the States, they not only take your watch, but they also stab you when they didn't even need to. They just stab you for the heck of it. Like, there was a guy that was wearing a Richard Mille in New York. They shot him like 10 times, didn't even get the watch. He just got shot 10 times instead. That's a crappy deal. Like, yeah. So my days of wearing watches out are pretty much over. Like, very rare.
Can you give my audience like the full fire hose, like the Ferrari, the watches?
Sure,
the whole rundown.
Hi, everybody. Richard Hart here. I own the world's largest diamond. You don't, and I don't care how hard you work and how hard you save and how good of a person you think you are. You ain't never gonna have the world's biggest diamond because it's mine. I have it, and there's only one. It's called the Hex.com diamond. I renamed it. It used to be called the Enigma diamond. I got $10 million in watches. I got the world's quickest Ferrari, 9.6 quarter mile. It also holds the quickest time at the Fiorano track in Italy, where they test and design all the Ferraris. It also has got the record at like most other tracks as well, any ones they've run it on for production cars, right? Like, if we have a Hexagon that's got a 3,500 horsepower Lambo that runs 235 miles an hour in the half mile. So, you know, my 1,000 horsepower Ferrari is not going to outrun his 3,500 horsepower Lambo. And we've also got like GT3 race cars that Hexagons run and win with in the GT series in the UK. And then I've got what else? I raised $27 million for charity, and I grew up poor. So screw all you guys out there that think you're better than me. You're not. And I make people rich. By the way, you were talking about scammers earlier. You want to know a lot of time, you can tell someone's trying to scam you. Well, where do they get your money? Do they want you to buy their course? I know that's a sore subject probably. Do they want you to like buy something from them? Is there a way to give them money?
Yeah.
I dare you to find a way to give me money. You can't.
Right.
There's no shopping cart. There's no address. You cannot give me your money. So sorry, guys, you You want to donate to SENS.org. You can't donate to me. You don't know my address.
Can you describe the charity? I don't think I've heard a clear description.
Yeah, it's a medical research charity that focuses on longevity, but really it means that you have to cure everything. So if you want people to live longer, you have to cure cancer and heart disease. Those kill 80% of people. You have to cure basically everything if you want people to live longer. It's the same foundation that Vitalik's donated something like $8 million to. Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX has donated, I think, 50 grand to. Tons and tons of people donated money to, perhaps because they were getting free coins from Plusechain.com. So I made a fork of Ethereum where everyone gets free coins on a new chain. It just works. You don't have to do anything. You like click a button, click OK. You see all your coins on the new chain. So you can go use a testnet now if you want, Plusechain.com, to see the settings. And we're trying to get mainnet out. So we're close. It's just software takes time. Is
the research like researching how to lengthen telomeres, or like what specifically are?
Well, the problem with lengthening telomeres is that you get more cancer. The reason telomeres exist is to reduce cells just copying themselves for eternity when you're asking them to shut down. And so a lot of cancers will activate an enzyme called telomerase to avoid the process of the telomeres running out and hitting the Hayflick limit. I don't think your audience really wants to get into the hard biology. Who knows?
So this is an evolutionary psychology course. So yeah, a lot of people probably would. But yeah, no, I totally understand. Okay. There's a ton of stuff that goes into that.
I mean, the good news is we're not designed to have a time limit. So that's good news.
Interesting. Okay.
We really just don't have good mechanisms of repair. And some other animals do have superior mechanisms.
You talking about like reptiles? Like alligators.
Well, there's immortal animals. There's immortal jellyfish. Yeah. Clams live to 600. There's Greenland sharks that are 600. Like tortoises live $120, $150, 200. Like humans, no matter what you do, no matter how you try and be healthy, you're not going to make it over 120.
Yeah.
So all of our medical progress is compressed morbidity, which basically means it's increased the likelihood that you get near 120, but never exceed it.
Right.
So your expectancy increases, but your span never increases. So, you want to actually get increases in lifespan, which we've not received a single one ever in the history of man. As a matter of fact, life expectancy in the United States has just dropped massively.
It's interesting because I was reading some papers about this, when the initial treatments for cancer, radiation therapy, stuff like that was happening, and you started to see a lower mortality rate for cancer, more people started dying from heart disease and vice versa. And you talked about this before. If you were to...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the two is going to get you.
Well, what happens is people don't realize how it's very counterintuitive. If you cure cancer, which kills 40% of all people, you only live 3 years longer on average.
Yeah.
Because instead, the next thing gets you,
yes,
which would be heart disease. And if you eat like an asshole, maybe heart disease comes first. So, and I do eat like an asshole. Thus, probably heart disease is going to grab me first. If you cure heart disease, which kills 40% of people, you also only get 3 years. If you cure both, you get 7. Don't ask me why 3 + 3 + 7 = 7. It's a very hard answer, but it does. And so once you discover that like curing cancer is only worth 3 years, you're like, well, can't we just get like more than 3 years by a bunch of different ways? Like modifying diet, modifying exercise, something. And then you're like, yeah, if you can do that, if you can get more than 3 years out of anything, then it's worth more than curing cancer factually, for a fact. There's companies that make billions of dollars every year, hundreds of billions of dollars every year, knowing exactly when someone like you is going to die, and they're called insurance agencies. They know exactly when someone like you is going to die. They know exactly what effect getting rid of this or getting rid of that will have on large groups of people. So I think longevity research is amazing in that if you can get someone more than 3 years by any means at all, it's better than curing cancer, which kills 40% of people. And you'll have better heart-ons, better skin tone, better muscle strength, better everything. Everything's better. You can delay age, absolutely everything's better. But if you look at the cures of cancer we have now, they're like, oh, well, they ruin you nearly totally in other ways. You're like, oh, that sucks.
What do you think the solution will be that this charity comes up with, like a gene
Well,
therapy?
they've already come up with some stuff. So, for instance, Senolytics was an idea of theirs where you get rid of all the junk that's not supposed to be there. And that's turned out wonderfully. There's a lot of products that are very effective that like they do a great job like clearing your cells of the crap that's not supposed to be there. And that was a Sen's idea. And so other ones are like you could knock out the gene for telomerase, and then cancer cells wouldn't be able to activate it anymore. But then you would just ingest it as necessary You would inject it as you needed it, and then your body would be fine, but the cancer wouldn't be fine. The cancer would have a harder time. So it's like the art of killing stuff that's not supposed to be there is how do you kill the stuff without killing a patient? It's like toxicity and stuff.
Right.
And then, there's only seven reasons why you age, and they've been the same 7 reasons for 50 years.
Sure.
It's very likely that they're the only reasons. And they are as follows. You can have too much junk in your cells or out of your cells. Outside is arteriosclerosis. You get plaque in your arteries, blood can't go around anymore. Or you get junk inside your cells, which is like lipofuscin that builds up and your cells swell and, they can't function properly anymore. You get too many cells, which would be cancer. You get too few cells, which would be like brain cell death. And you have mutations in your mitochondrial DNA and your nuclear DNA. Most people don't know you actually have 2 different kinds of DNA, and one of them only comes from your mom. Most people don't know that. Yep. You have matriarchal DNA that goes all the way back when, 100,000, 200,000 years ago. And it just comes from your mom. You're like, oh, crazy. There's like a mitochondrial Eve, like that's the girl that made everybody's mitochondrial DNA. And you've also got cross-linking where stuff that's supposed to be flexible turns hard. So you'll lose lung capacity, you'll lose heart beating ability because basically sugars harden up or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's called advanced glycation enzymes, AGEs. But I really can't imagine anyone cares about this stuff. I really
They do. This is an unusual audience that I have. We actually did 3.5 hours with flat earthers. I've had physicists on here talking about.
I did that. I regret it. I debated a flat earther for about 2 hours, and I was like, man, pretty hard. I got him to make some progress, but like it was not easy.
I definitely got to go check that out. Is it on?
No.
You film? Oh, you did film it?
It's on his channel. I didn't put it on my channel.
Yeah,
because I knew it would be too retarded.
I studied astronomy in college, so I had
there you go.
And I had went through and I had answers to every single one of the things that they brought up. And
You're one of those ball Earth guys.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of those globists. Yeah, it makes people so angry when I say I'm globist and we landed on the moon in 1969. I get death threats.
But what about the Van Allen belt?
Oh, the Van Allen belt is the great one. So the escape. It's funny because when people talk about the Van Allen belt, they go over, if they had gone through that place, the Van Allen belt. For those of you who don't know, there's these 2 belts that are outside they're near the edge of the magnetosphere, and they absorb radiation from the sun. And the theory is, by people who don't believe we went to the moon, that if a spaceship went through the Van Allen belt, that the astronauts would absorb so many rads that it would kill them. Well, there's a couple of problems here. Number one, if you ask any of those same people, because they're just regurgitating something they saw in a 3-hour video on YouTube, they don't know the escape velocity of the Earth, which is 11 miles per second. At that velocity going through those Van Allen belts, it's almost like walking over hot coals. If I stand on hot coals, I'll burn my feet. If I walk over them or go through them fast enough, it won't be an issue. On top of the fact, the Van Allen belt absorbs radiation. It does not create radiation. So it's almost like, which hotter, the stove or that little thing above your stove that that absorbs the smoke? This thing is going to be hot, but the stove is hotter. The sun is hotter than the Van Allen belt. The other example is this. There's an example of an absorption of radiation through magnetic belts on the surface of the planet. It's called the aurora borealis. If you go to the aurora borealis right now, do you get fried? Do you end up with radiation poisoning? Can you stand and just stare at it for hours? You could live underneath it for years and it wouldn't kill you. And that's far closer. So, and it's also less dispersed than the Van Allen belt, which is several 1,000 kilometers or 100 kilometers long. So the idea that the Van Allen belt is going to just be loaded with this radiation is just not. It's not only is it not true, you're going through it so fast that it's not an issue. Does that make sense?
Yep. And it also is stopped by water as well. And there's water all over the place.
For sure. For certain,
in the ship.
Certain frequencies, certain frequencies of electromagnet on the electromagnetic spectrum are stopped by water. One of them would be specifically microwaves. That's the reason why your microwave heats up the water inside of the food that you have. So that's definitely also the case. But yeah, this is just one of the issues. The other thing is listen, Apollo 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 all went through the Van Allen belt twice. So that's another issue. So and I get these all the time, man. These guys will come after me. I promise you right now in the comments, there's going to be about 50
I just think everyone wants to get laid and rich. Like all this other stuff is
great?
Just like, that's all I like. So
we're definitely going to get into that. Let's talk about this. So Reddit is obviously a different place now than it was
back
in the day. But you discovered Bitcoin on Reddit. Can you talk about that? And this is after you've retired. You've already done the Panama
So I was
thing.
just traveling the world playing video games. Like I had a really strong video game.
Which video games?
I had it. Well, at the time I was playing StarCraft.
Okay, I love that.
2 and Team Fortress 2, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I was on a Radeon around 69.50, which
Yeah.
was like 59.70, 59.90. It was two Radeon cards on one. It was like two chips on one card,
Yeah.
and then your system would see it as two separate video cards, and you would like SLI them basically. And that was, really good for mining. So and then I just started like a mining farm. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just double clicked an EXE and Bitcoin would come into my computer every once in a while. I'm like, oh, this is cool. You get 50 Bitcoin every once in a while. Well, now 50 Bitcoin is like
It's
$1 million.
Yeah, 19 times 50. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of money now. But back then it was 50 cents. So back then it was not $1 million. It was $25. So bragging about mining Bitcoin in 2011 is like bragging about having $25. It matters how long you held, much more than when you got in. A lot of people thought they were smart, sold the 2x, sold the 4x. Yeah, I made a cryptocurrency called Hex. It went up 10,000x. So a nice little bit I do is I'm like, you could have sold it on a double, or 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 on a double. It doubled 13 times.
Yeah, that FOMO is like a real thing because I built a gaming machine too. I was a captain in the Air Force back then, and when we were not flying, we were playing video games all the time. And I had this big nasty machine that I built myself. And now I think about the fact that I could have been mining back then, back in 2011. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, or you could have just like put $100 in, and
for sure
you'd have like $4 million.
Do you know what the issue is, Richard? I think you seeing on Reddit. I think what part of what the problem is, and you've talked about this before. It's not the product; it's who's selling it to me. I have just found that there were so many guys who were trying to scam me with Forex who just pivoted over to crypto. That's not crypto's fault, but it's the same.
It's terrible.
And the thing is, the other problem is when you go. People out there watching this, maybe you've had this similar experience. You go home for Thanksgiving and one of your family members who's a fucking burnout is talking about how much money he made in Bitcoin. And you just feel like, nah, something's wrong here. Does that make sense? I feel like it was the messenger. It wasn't the message. Man. Yes. But it was also the messenger.
Yeah. Like it's not fair that you can shove your thumb up your butt, pay half the tax rate, and make more than anyone else in the history of mankind has ever made.
Yeah.
But it's fact. So like if you read my free books, like one of them's called Scivive, you can go to t.me/Scivive and download it. There's nothing about crypto in it. So it's like, how do you start a business? How do you hire people? How do you dress, romance, business, make money, get laid, be fit, all that stuff. Obviously I don't take some of my advice, but some of it I do. Works out pretty good. The issue is crypto invalidates so much of the business stuff because you are not going to be able to outperform crypto. You've got an 80-90%. I mean, like Bitcoin went up to 70K. Now it's 20K. Ethereum went up to 5K. Now it's 1.3K. Hex went up to 60 cents. Now it's 3 cents. And so you have the opportunity to buy a massive dip. And these things have product market fit. They have fundamentals. If the shit hits the fan, they will become even more valuable, because if governments start seizing people's money in like a World War III kind of environment, where are you going to be able to escape to? Yes. What can you cross borders with is invisible, so nobody knows you have it. No one, like, there's almost nothing. Oh, you got gold teeth? Yanked. Oh, you got art? Yanked. Oh, you got land? Well, blown up and you're afraid to be there now. So it's like it's a wonderful, it's great that cryptocurrency makes mad gains, but it's also great that it's censorship resistant and truly no one else can take it from you. Like, now if you keep the keys in your head and someone beats you with a wrench, they will get it, but just don't keep your keys in your head. Like, I don't know my keys, so you can beat me all you want. I don't know.
I was at a hedge fund conference a couple of months ago in, I don't know if you know Richard Crabb from Numerai, but he was there. So this hedge fund conference, it was the same time that this most recent crypto crash happened. It was like the same day. And they had some of the speakers on it. Some of the speakers were guys who managed huge pension funds, multi-billion-dollar pension funds. And these guys are as old school, traditional finance as you can get. And they just loved getting up there and just shitting on crypto one after another. And I was just like,
but they're all retarded. Like their gains suck. It's like, good job, guys. Your gains all suck. Like a monkey outperforms you. Like literally The S&P 500
S&P,
native index at BlackRock craps on all of your think you're smart efforts. You all actually suck. You're all basically crappy middlemen. So
right.
with few exceptions. I mean, it depends. There are some exceptions, but they are very few.
Yeah, Jim Simons like being the middleman for a lot of different bid ask spreads for sure. But for the most part, when he was up there talking about this, I just remember he got up there and said, "Well, this all started because people wanted to break the law with it." And I remember what you just said about censorship, how trying to get currency controls in India, or the fact that they were freezing your assets in Canada if you didn't support the right political party. These things were real. It wasn't a function of me
Yeah.
trying to do child sex trafficking or buying
Yep.
cocaine. This was a real thing that was happening, where
Yeah.
my real assets were really being frozen by real governments
Yep.
in real time. And that's
Yep.
to me, that sort of lent credence to this belief, because for the longest time listening to these Bitcoin proselytizers, I was just like, dude, you don't even believe this. You're just saying this because you want to get rich like everyone else, and you're telling me this is going
Right.
to change the world. You don't give a fuck about changing the world. And so that's one of the things when that
It's
started
one of the few
happening.
things that can really change the world.
Yeah.
Like there ain't many things that can actually change the world, and cryptocurrency and medical research are them. Maybe AI. So if you ain't crypto, AI, or medical research, you're not changing the world, pretty much. So what makes money good? What makes a money a money? Is it durable? Is it divisible? Is it recognizable? Is it transportable? And does it retain its value or increase in value?
Right.
And if something does all those things, it's going to make an amazing money. And right now, the dollar doesn't do those things. Your dollar, you go take a picture from a McDonald's menu from 50 years ago, and go take a picture from a McDonald's menu today, and you'll notice that the dollar dropped in value tenfold. 90% of its value was lost in 2 generations. Why? Because they just keep printing it like it's a joke. They print it like it's a joke. No one needs your money. Then you'll get new money fresh off the press from the government. They don't need yours. And so is that fair to everybody? Is it fair that you steal the value of everyone's savings? Everyone who's ever saved $1 has had their money straight stolen from them through counterfeiting. But wait, Richard, it's not counterfeiting. What's the difference? Who gets to spend it? That's the only difference. The penalty to all the other holders is the same. And so the difference between government quantitative easing and just some guy printing it in his back room, to you, the end user, there is no difference. It's just a question of who gets to waste the money. Does the government get to waste the money, or does the guy illegally printing it gets to waste it? So, cryptocurrency solves a lot of that. How often is your bank's website down? All the time. How often is Bitcoin and Ethereum down? Almost never. How often is Bitcoin and Ethereum going down? Occasionally, but usually it's massively up. So, Bitcoin went up 690 million%, and you used to be able to buy for one Bitcoin, you could have got 2,000 Ethereum. And now you can only get 17 or 12. So Ethereum murdered Bitcoin's returns, Bitcoin murdered everything else's returns, and now Micron murdered both of them. So it's, if you're still sitting in cash, you really should consider crypto, because when it goes up, it's going to outperform everything. There's nothing in the history of mankind that has ever performed as well as cryptocurrency. And there is unlikely to ever be anything that ever performs as well again, because, once you reach the top of your S curve, this is the reason Bitcoin's gains aren't as good as they used to be. So Bitcoin went from 3,800 in the COVID dip up to 70,000. Ethereum went from 88 in the COVID dip up to 5,000. Well, that's the difference between a 20x and a 60x. Big difference. So you got an extra 3x by holding Ethereum. And now Ethereum doesn't even blow up the environments anymore. And so now there's less issuance. It's 0.5% of your issuance, where at Bitcoin is 4 times higher at 1.69.
Yeah. Yeah. You also talked about Bitcoin, the attempt for it to be used as a currency, and now as a store of value.
That's fine, because store of value has more value in it. So tautologically, things that you use to exchange value will always be worth less than the values themselves, because it's a proxy for rare things, goods and services, time. So being store of value is worth 10 to 100-fold more than being a transfer network. Transfer networks are, relatively efficient and relatively cheap already. So there's diminished upside from replacing them. But stores of value, like gold, is a financial instrument. is worth 10 times Visa plus MasterCard plus PayPal plus all that crap. And you're like, well, great. Then we can attack that 10 times larger market. Hex attacks, printed cash is only maybe 5 trillion. Time deposit cash is like 7 trillion. So it's a larger market. So like Hex does time deposits and accidentally does all these other things better than Bitcoin. Like it's more secure. People don't understand that. People think hash rate security. You're like, hey, Ethereum literally has no hash rate now, but seems to be working great. So guys, where's the parade of imaginary horribles? Explain to me how, hash rate equals security. They don't know anything about software. You're like, the biggest problem all these currencies have is inflation bugs. Does hash rate address those? No? Okay. Maybe you don't know nothing about security. Maybe go learn about it,
You know what I also appreciated was, coming from, traditional finance, you talked about two guys staring at a screen, trying to take money from
Trying
each
to steal
other,
each other's money from
trying
each
to steal
other.
each
Yeah.
other money. It's a zero-sum game. The other thing is there's no science behind technical analysis. I've just seen so many products where people believe that chart reading is somehow going to give them an advantage over Jim Simons. And I watch these things and it's maddening. And you brought up what I really appreciated was the idea that you're not going to, overall, the fees are going to eat you alive. It's less than a zero-sum game, and you're trying to take someone else's money. And what Hex did was cause you to delay. Have you read Dr. Michel's book, The Marshmallow Test? Have you ever read that? It's about delayed
I
gratification.
didn't read the book, but I'm familiar with what being able to work on the future instead of now lets you do.
Basically,
all personal development is delayed gratification.
Yes.
And I just monetized that.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is, for those of you who don't know, they did these studies with children, and they basically saw which children were able to delay gratification. One marshmallow now versus several cookies and marshmallows if they waited later. And all of those kids ended up with higher SAT scores, longer marriages, all kinds of stuff, and higher IQ. Delayed gratification is sort of, it was the highest correlation to people becoming successful, was the ability to delay gratification. One of the things in Forex trading, crypto, fucking binary stocks, all this kind of stuff, pink sheets going all the way back to, the 1980s. One of these things is that what they would prey on is people's lack of ability to delay gratification. They wanted instant returns very quickly. Crypto was no different. And then you talked about with Hex, people have to lock up. They have to mint a coin and lock it up. Well, you can explain it better than me.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of gains in Hex come from just the USD appreciation, which is totally unrelated to you locking it. So if you buy it and you don't lock it, the number goes up. Cool, you made money. You didn't have to lock it at all. If you did want to lock it, make extra interest and get gains on your gains, then you can, stake for anywhere from a day to 5,555 days, which is cool because my world's largest diamond is 555.55 carats. So it's like a shout out to the Quattro Cinco Club. We got a lot of guys with 5555 tattoos. And we've got so many people with 15-year stakes that you wouldn't believe. I'll let you guess it. What do you think the average stake length is in Hex on average?
I listened to 8.5 hours of your stuff, so it's 7.5 years.
Yeah, I think it's 7.9 now.
Yeah, is it?
Okay. It just keeps going up.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, as far as delayed gratification, that's incredible.
Yeah. I'm amazed you remember it. Yeah, it's like to cancel out all the guys that have like 1 year stakes to have, and you can have a 1 day stake. To cancel out all the guys that have 1 year stakes and have an average of over halfway to like 15 years, that's insane. You're just like, wow. There's no financial product that I'm aware of in history where people have proven their belief as firmly. Like, I don't see people getting like bank tattoos.
Right. My Bank of America right here on my arm. Yeah, exactly. Here's my Chase Bank shit right here. So can you just, going back to the stripper at the Rhino who just got off work and is watching this, the idea, how is Hex different? You mint it. Can you explain what that is? And then also, can I trade the coin after I mint it? Can I speculate on the coin? Yeah.
Extremely easily.
Yeah.
So basically all cryptocurrency is an Excel spreadsheet that lives on the internet. You need your password to spend your money, and they inflate to keep the network safe. Bitcoin inflates at about 1.7%, Ethereum inflates at about 0.5%, and Hex inflates at a maximum of 3.69%. But the difference is, because the average stake length is 8 years, that inflation comes out 8 years from now. So the inflation now is extremely low because it only happens at the end of a stake. And so if you want to earn the new Bitcoin that gets minted into existence out of thin air, the inflation, you have to go blow up the environment and do proof of waste, proof of work.
Specifically for the people who don't understand what you're saying, you're talking about the electricity cost that comes with the mining.
Yes.
How you have multiple miners, several of them are losers, and they're still wasting their electricity.
Well, if they were smart, you would just turn the miners off and buy the coins instead of mining your own at a loss. So there really is never a reason to mine at a loss that I'm aware of, unless you're embezzling or something. So the negative externality of Bitcoin miners destroying the environment and dumping the Bitcoin price to pay for that pollution, they literally buy the pollution. They're like, "You're an electricity company. I need megawatts of electricity. Here's money I got from dumping the Bitcoin price. Please go hurt the environment for me so I can generate heat with these things that I bought from some third, offshore company that also sucks." So the mining companies suck, miners suck, it all sucks. Ethereum just got rid of them. They're like, "Hey, we can do this with proof of stake. We don't need you guys. Go away." So we're not going to inflate to dump the currency. We're going to inflate a little bit to reward people for staking to maintain consensus instead of burning the environment to maintain consensus. And it's working fine. And we're doing the same thing with Plusechain. So we don't need to blow up the environment.
So proof of stake versus proof of work. Proof of work would be you have multiple people trying to solve the hash function. And proof of stake, one person is chosen, and they're chosen because of how, or part of the reason why they're chosen, there's randomness to it, is the number of coins that they stake. So if they fuck up, then they lose some of those coins.
Yes.
So only one person is doing it instead of like burning the environment, like you said, multiple people burning.
Well, there's still tons and tons of people. Like Ethereum 2, which is now just called Ethereum, funny enough. So post-merge Ethereum that is proof of stake, is designed to support millions of validators. So and I'm not sure. I think the way that it has worked currently is that there are much less validators because people did the opposite of why crypto was invented and gave their coins to somebody else so that they could go do the mining. And that's the opposite of why crypto was invented. I hate it, but people are stupid, so they keep doing it. Crypto was invented to put you in charge of your money and remove middlemen. And so if you give your coins to somebody else, you made a huge vital error. You're the reason that there's headlines of X number of millions of dollars lost in scam, X millions of dollars lost in hack, X number of millions lost in seizure, etc. Stop, guys. Like, hold your own keys. Put them next to your nudes. If your nudes aren't getting stolen, your keys won't get stolen.
Right.
I can teach you more advanced ways to do it, but like, it's better than letting somebody else just steal your keys or getting SIM swapped, or like there's so many crap things that they're just 12 words. Go write your 12 words down somewhere.
Yeah.
Or split it up, or use Shamir secret sharing if you want to get fancy with it. So basically, Ethereum now has less negative externalities, lower inflation rate, more features. You want stable coins, NFTs, options, time deposit, Hex the time deposit, which monetizes time. So in Hex, we use proof of weight. So you're still going to pay the Ethereum network a small transaction fee in order to mint inflation or to lock your coins or to transfer your coins to somebody else. And we issue inflation based on how long you delay gratification. So we reward the most successful investing strategy that's ever existed, just time in the market instead of timing the market. We save you from your own weak ass hands. Really, you save yourself from your own weak ass hands.
Yeah.
How many guys would have been so much more rich in Bitcoin had they held through the 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000x? Well, we got people in Hex that have sat through that 10,000x, and they didn't sell it at 2x. So they're still up 500. There's people that are up 500x right now. But before staking, I mean, like you could be up with their staking interest. You could be up, 1,000x right now. Depends on how long you staked for.
In order for me to mint a coin, I need a certain amount of Ethereum. And does that amount?
Well, you just need to be able to pay for your gas. You got to pay for your gas. Sometimes it's really cheap. Sometimes it's more expensive. Maybe it's like $3, $5. I mean, I can look it up. My gut feeling is like $3 or $5 right now. But because of the bear market, maybe it's only $1.50.
Got it.
This is because the network's less loaded up. Because you're paying for, there's a limited number of transactions that can go through a day, and so you're outbidding other people for that space basically. Because you can't make it free, otherwise there's infinite demand for free resources. So anything you make free, literally people will just take it all, and then you won't have it anymore. Break. So you need fees to act as a mechanism to effectively allocate limited resources.
Right.
So yeah, you just pay a little bit of fee, lock up your Hex. If you want to go to like hex.vision and see where there's less hex ending stake in the future. You can slot it somewhere where there's less, potential sell pressure in that area.
Your expiration, your stake
your expiration date.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you want to avoid,
it.
And then if you want to make like the max return, you stake as long as you can. That'll give you your max return in hex terms because you'll get the biggest bonus, extra bonus shares for staking longer. You get 3x by going up to, I think the max is actually 36, 48 days. It's been a long time since I quoted the max bonus, but but the problem is if you have to recycle at the end of the max, the share price is going to be so much higher that you're going to have much less return after that period. So a lot of people just go the 15 years, the 5-5-5-5. Yeah, there's a lot of game theory in it. Like you can go deep on this stuff. So there's a lot of, if you want to go deep into the game theory, there's a lot of depth there if you want to get into it. Well, our trading is unlike anybody else's trading. You can see when other people can end their stakes. We're the first chart of future market supply. You don't know when Satoshi is going to dump his coins. He can dump his coins whenever he wants. But in hacks, you know when other whales can dump their coins because they're locked. You're like, hey, what's that? You can see behavior. So on Bitcoin, you don't know whether people are selling or what other coins they hold. But in hacks, you can see it because it's all on chain. You're like, oh, this guy holds these coins. When his stakes come out, he usually restakes or he sells his interest or, he adds or whatever. And you can see it all on chain because the vast majority of our trading is on chain. So you can tell what other coins they hold, when they got in, how much they made, when they got out. Like it's all there, and there's no middlemen. There's no middlemen. You mint your own coins. You mint your own inflation. Yeah. You trade with other coins if you want, all on chain. No middlemen. No one can screw you. It's amazing. It's a miracle, and that's why we've had over 1,000 days of perfect flawless operation. Well, everything around us has gotten annihilated. If Luna to zero, right? Celsius bankrupt. And you're like, there's so many. I have a thread on Twitter that it's insanely long of all the failures, tons of failures all the time. $1 billion failures, $1 million failures, hundreds of millions, you name it. And we're just perfect and flawless.
You mentioned also before about the idea of holding Bitcoin actually beat the businesses that were the Bitcoin businesses.
Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin still, even with its limp gains, even if it only does a 10x on its next run, it's still going to outperform whatever you thought you could do in your business. You're not like, you worked hard, great. You're paying income tax at the maximum possible rate. Oh, you got your own business, you got your own business. Oh, cool. Well, you're still paying tax at the maximum possible rate, plus a little bit of write-offs. Mm-hmm. Congrats. But like if you have crypto and you hold it for over a year in the States, that's capital gains. And in Germany, it's 0%. And in some other countries, it's 0% per tax. In Singapore, there's no cap gains tax. In Luxembourg, there's no tax gains. It's either Luxembourg or Belgium, I don't remember which, they have no cap gains tax. And you're just like, yeah, you'd rather pay no tax than tax. But if you work for a living, you're paying the maximum tax. Sucks. Oh, and by the way, you bought shares in something? Is there liquidity? How much of a haircut are you going to take trying to sell those, and how long are you going to wait?
Right.
So like having liquidity, having preferable tax treatment, and having the best performing asset that's ever existed. What do you want? What's left? I mean, it's a miracle, really. And it won't always exist. Once the whole world is on-ramp to crypto, they won't need on-ramp again, and you won't be able to get mad gains again because they'll already be in. You have a lot less gains now in Bitcoin than you did earlier, because it's been around for so long. It's too heavy.
So whenever I do a presentation, I used to be a military officer. We would do a flight brief before, and we'd always talk about emergency situations. When I got into finance, one of the things I always lead with is like, here's how we can lose money. I'm curious, from your standpoint, what things would have to happen for things to go wrong if I invested with Hex?
Well, I mean, this stuff dips all the time.
Okay.
And I think it's funny because you're like, hey, this is the world's best performing asset. Awesome. Okay, so it goes up the most. Yeah, and guess what? You can also buy it at a 90% discount sometimes. Even better. So not only does it go up the most, but I can also buy it at a huge discount sometimes. Kick ass. But if people don't have the right mindset and they just buy the top and then sell the bottom, well, you just lost your money. And who'd you lose it to? Where do you think your money went? It didn't go to the crappy exchange, beating you up in fees. It didn't go to the guy trying to steal your money on the other side. It went to the good, honest guy that was delaying gratification that bought earlier. And you could be that guy if you chill. You'd wait a little while. If you buy a real product that has product market fit and durability, If you buy a fake product like a scam, you hold it longer, it doesn't help. It's still a scam. It goes to zero, stays at zero. So, you know, if you have a longer than 3 or 4 year time horizon, you know, Hex has done 60, 70, 80, 90% drops 14 times, 15 times on its way 10,000x up. So there was a lot of times when they were like, oh my God, I should have sold. It, like over and over and over and over again. And it keeps making new all-time highs. And so from my perspective, I think the ability for someone to profit on a speculative instrument, which would be any business, any stock, any crypto, is how many people know about it now and how many people are going to know about it in the future. There's only 100,000 hex takers. Maybe there's 130,000 now. Like the number went up. I got to go check it. So let's call it 130,000. Do you think that's the end for Hex? That's it? We got 130,000 stakers. It's over. I don't think so. I think the numbers keep getting better. I think I keep getting more followers. I think more people keep hearing about Hex. I think the number of on-ramps keeps getting better. I think people understand it more. There's more influencers. There's more technology around it. There's more people building products on top of it. So now you can you can encapsulate Hex. You can make it's like a Hex bond. Like you can stake Hex and then generate an NFT and then sell the NFT. And then whoever has the NFT now has the Hex stake. So it's encapsulated Hex. There's people that combine together to make like a maximum size Hex that has like the biggest size bonus. And then they divide up shares of that thing. Like there's all this, like it's early days. Most people still don't even understand it. Most people think it's a scam. Like, oh, crypto scam. Oh my God. And it's not Bitcoin and Ethereum. Super scam. You're like, no, actually, right. Like our stuff's awesome. So I think it's very early days. And I think there's huge potential, you know. There's also even a movie coming out about me at the end of the year. It's already done. So they got a 40-piece orchestra scoring it. You know, it's done. It's in the can. So like, well, the orchestra part's not done, but everything else is done. Filming is done. So the only thing they're doing now is just the orchestra and like the sound effects and the text, just to make the text pretty, you know, in between scenes if there's text. And these guys are Emmy Award winning. So it's looking good. Like I'm happy. So like I put my best friends, look, I'm not a financial advisor to cover my own ass here. So if you go and get wrecked somehow, it's your fault. But if it goes wonderfully and you want to be like, darn, that Rich is a cool guy, feel free. I have a lot of people that do that. When people recognize me, like, oh my God, Richard, oh my God, they're happy. Had that happen today. Can I get a photo with me? I'm like, yeah, it's all good, bro. So a lot of people have made a lot of money with stuff I've made.
For sure. For sure. So there was 3 things that I was sold when I first heard about cryptocurrency. And the 3 things were, well, there were several things, but one of them was it was supposed to not be correlated to the S&P 500. This was like a flight to quality. The second thing was about the privacy. And the third thing was supposed to be a redistribution of wealth. That's what this was supposed to be. And what has happened, and I'm sure you're about to say this, is the complete opposite happened in all 3 of those cases. Privacy was like, if I could pin down one Satoshi, I knew all of your transactions. If it was a situation, most of all of Bitcoin is held in like a very few number of wallets, and the correlation. This was the one that just drove me crazy. Is I was watching the Corona crash, and I was watching the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, and they looked the same. But I was told that they were supposed to be the opposite. I was told that we were supposed to sell all of our S&P 500, and all that money was going to go into crypto, and the complete opposite happened. Can you go over those 3 things?
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, first of all, Bitcoin murdered the S&P 500, so that's fine. But that's like, so the S&P 500 is a risk-on asset. It does better when interest rates are low. It does worse with interest rates going higher. Bitcoin's relatively totally correlated to the S&P 500. It acts like a rather insane leverage position on it. And so when the S&P goes up, Bitcoin goes up a lot more. And since the S&P nearly always goes up, Bitcoin nearly always goes up. And then sometimes the S&P dumps and then Bitcoin dumps harder because it acts like a leverage position, but it's still tilted massively to the upside. And then as far as the redistribution of wealth goes, that doesn't make any sense at all, because to get in, you have to have money. And so it just is a force multiplier. If you already have a lot of money, it's going to multiply your stack by a lot. If you have a little money, it's also going to multiply your stack by a lot. But when you compare the 2 things, a little multiplied by a lot and a lot multiplied by a lot, the lot is a lot bigger than the little lot. And then it also, like, you can't solve politics with money either, or it would already be solved. So you're not going to like take one group of people and pretend that money didn't matter and go, oh, this is going to solve Africa. You're like, nope, not solving Africa either. This isn't going to solve Africa. This is just going to make the rich richer. Right. If you're lucky enough to get in earlier than some other richer guys. Look, Michael Saylor, the ex-CEO of MicroStrategy, he said that Bitcoin was going to fail like online gaming in 2013.
Yeah,
he was wrong. And I had huge stacks of Bitcoin back then when I was like in between 600 and 1300. And, instead he bought 1,000 times higher. He wanted to buy 10,000 instead of 600. So I guess that's what? I don't feel like doing that. It's some large number. It's not 1,000 times, but it's a large number of X higher. And this guy's wrong. And so he bought the top. I called the top. He bought the top. And then, maybe we'll get lucky and he'll sell the bottom and I'll call the bottom. That'd be great. And then he will lost all his money, the dumb. It's just, I understand things in a way that no one else does. And therefore I'm able to get reality better. I called the top in the day. No one else did. If you didn't call the top, what makes you think you're going to call the bottom? Like a lot of people keep calling the bottom. That's not, that makes new lows. And you're like, hey, what's, you going to delete that tweet now? Yeah. A lot of tweet deleting. I see a lot of deleted tweets on the internet. People get the call wrong, deleted tweet. So they get a tracker on them. There's a crypto deleted on Telegram, tracks all these people deleting their tweets. You go there and see all the scumbags deleting all their Luna tweets, all their Bitcoin to 100K tweets, all their I got my mom to buy at 60K tweets. You're like, yeah, we remember. We keep the receipts. So they should, if you're wrong, you should get less press coverage, and you're right.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Great? I love this. You made a statement, man, and it really stuck with me. You were like on Instagram, you're like, everyone has more followers than me. And it's so funny because especially social media in general, that particular forum specifically, it is not a meritocracy. I cannot tell you how many guys I know guys who bought a bunch of fake followers, and then you'd think Instagram would like punish them, but no, they gave them a blue check mark. And I was just like, wait, this guy's a convicted felon who did nothing. And it's just so crazy whenever I watch stuff like that. Meanwhile, like I said, I host the two biggest bikini competitions in the world. There's people making fake accounts of me, inviting girls to photo shoots in location, like actual danger, right? And they won't give me a blue check mark, but they'll give these guys one. And it's very frightening. You mentioned this before about it not being a meritocracy, and you're consistently seeing people who get things wrong do better than you on social media, and how frustrating that is.
It sucks, but hey, at least I got a blue check mark.
Right.
But I have no followers. Like, I don't know. I've got like I've got 250,000 on Twitter, and they're 100% real, 100% real. So,
yeah,
I'm happy about it. But they don't have. I'm trying to expand into the young independent woman demographic.
Okay. Do you want to talk about this now?
It's much easier to do that on Insta than it is on Twitter.
It is
because it's all dudes on Twitter.
Yeah, it is. So
not a lot of bikini models.
Right. So the thing is, you mentioned before that you had a question about. We'll skip ahead because I did want to talk to you about this. You mentioned before that there was something you were trying to figure out here, which had to do with how to. You talked about maybe having people message other people, mass texting or something like that, to set up events with these women that you said before. And I love the statement. You don't see these women at Sephora. You don't see them when you go out on a regular basis. They don't exist. You have to get them to come out. Can you expound on that?
So it's like, in an ideal world, the rated 10 girls get the rated 10 guys. The rated 9 girls get the rated 9 guys. The rated 8 girls get the rated 8 guys. That would be kind of an ideal world with one-to-one pair bonding. But we don't live in that world. We live in the hypergamy world. And since everyone else has been canceled that's ever used that term, I'll try not to use it again. But basically, all the girls want the same guy. They want the best guy they can possibly get. Whether they deserve it or not, it's what they want. And so, if they've studied this and they've published the data, and if guys like rank a girl's hotness, it's a bell curve distribution of 0 to 10.
Yes.
And then if girls rank the hotness, it's almost everyone is zeros. Yes. And then like some guys are like hot as heck. And you're just like, well, one, God darn girls, that ain't fair or accurate. I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's unfortunate for you. You're going to spend your day looking at ugly people all day long.
Yeah.
That's a girl's life, is just looking at ugly people all day long. Um, and then so now, okay, you want to punch above your weight class, and you're a normal dude, so you get dressed up and you go to the gym and you get a nice car. You try and have good posture and tonality and framing, and now you've polished yourself from like the 6 you used to be to like the 7.5.
Sure.
That's awesome. So now you're going to slay. You're probably going to slay if you say hi to enough people, and that's great. And so now you're going to do good with the girls that you meet. And who are the girls you meet? The girls that leave their houses and go to clubs and go to stores. And then you're thinking to yourself, and you're like, no, wait a second. What's the hottest girl I've ever seen in a store or club? And then how hot is that compared to the stuff I see on, say, Insta or TV?
Right.
And they're totally different planets. They're not even the same realm. There's like 1.5 points of hotness missing. You've never seen a 10 at the store. You've never seen a 10 at the bar. Maybe you saw 9 once in a decade. And you're like, maybe you had an 8 and she's out with dudes, and then 7s you could actually find them. You're like, all right, there's maybe like 2 7s in a bar at a night, maybe, if you're lucky. Depends where you live. So, and what you're into. And it's just like, well, I know these people exist. I know they're born. I see them in the yearbook. Some people went to school with them, and then they got sucked off into the suburbs, and you never see them again. They're gone. They're no longer part of society. You can't access them. And so the theory was, all right, let's get these people out by whatever means necessary. And that's kind of what club promoters do for a living, but let's see if we can get them out. But then you run into a different problem. And here's the problem you run into. They all have boyfriends, as they should, because they're silly, stupid, hot. And they've got their crowd of orbiters of the 5 guys that would do anything for them, including cut off their arm just and get nothing in return for decades, just waiting for that window. Like, oh, if I can only get in there that 1 month that they might be broke up. Be the shoulder they're crying or whatever. And so you've got to bust through like the dude that's already in there, the orbit of 5 other dudes, and then it's extremely hard. So like I tried the photographer thing. Like I became a photographer, and then you invite models over and you're just like, oh, you all have boyfriends. Okay.
Yeah.
This is crap. Like this is literally useless. I'm glad you enjoyed that awesome shoot. I guess we're not going out after. You're like, hey, yeah, cool. But you have to try this crap because it tells you, right? You're like, oh, it doesn't work. And so now, like right now I'm going out, and there's just like tons and tons of hot girls, and they're not hooking up with anybody. Because I keep track. I'm like, all right, which one of y'all is actually going to be fun tonight? And with whom? And they're like going home with solo. You're like, God dang, I'm in the wrong place. This is messed up, bro. So either they're not fun, or they've all got boyfriends, or whatever the problem is. And so you keep trying to crack the code. Or you could just be happy with one girl, right? Like you guys that want it easy, want to be happy with one girl, go do that. I'm not doing that.
So
like
this equation,
not happy with one girl.
I worked this equation from the opposite standpoint, which is I started from the Playboy Mansion, and I started from the Ignite parties with Bilzerian, who's a buddy of mine, and I worked backwards. I was like, so you're looking at it from your standpoint, which most people would, and I started saying, well, I do know where these girls are. I see them all the time because I live out here in Las Vegas. Like, where are they going? So one of the first things I asked is like, do you guys ever go to clubs in Los Angeles? In Los Angeles, they do not. The Los Angeles nightclub scene is horrible. I would rather go out in Wichita, Kansas. It's abysmal. Like it's and I used to live in Wichita. In Wichita, they have more fun. I'd rather go to a gay club in Dallas than go to a nightclub in Los Angeles. It's fucking terrible.
Epic.
Because they're so
now
angry.
I know. You saved me a lot of time.
They're so angry. When you go,
Yeah.
It's so funny because whenever LA promoters come to Vegas, I can pick them out in 2 seconds. They're angry. They always have the like fuckboy ball fades, and they are always just staring at their phone, angry as fuck. Like, oh, it sucks. I have to hang out with all these fucking girls, and I'm like, bro, chill. Like, you can tell. Vegas people are in shape. They wear suits. They're colorful. They smile. They always say yes to you. They're always polite. In Vegas, we're here to say yes. In LA, they're there to tell you no. So one of the things that I noticed is like, okay, let me work this backwards. So Lindsay Palas, I don't know if you know who she is. She's a former playmate. I would ask her. She's like,
I know what Payless shoes are.
No, Palas, like the Spanish. So so I would ask her, I was like, do you ever go out in Vegas or in LA? She's like, no. When I go to clubs, I go out in Vegas. So that was the first thing. One of the reasons why I lived here is because LA girls don't without
lesson here is geography.
Yes, the lesson,
That's the first lesson.
or access. The lesson here is access, right? So that's one of the things I teach in my course is that the most underrated part of self-development is access. The most underrated part of self-development is logistics. So that was the first thing. The second thing I came to the recognition of is that my status as a man, whether my physique, my wealth, my facial structure, or my deep voice or my charisma, that would get me so far. Two things. Number one, it becomes scalable when I do it on social media, not as scalable when I'm trying to go talk to girls in a mall, right? That's the first thing.
Yep.
The second thing that was just absolutely fucking incredible that changed my life is when I started going out to clubs with playmates and I told them, like Kindly Myers, CJ Sparks are like two of my closest friends. When I go out with them and I'd be like, I like that girl, they would go grab the girl for me. And the girl is being grabbed by her favorite Instagram model. The receptiveness that I got is 50x better than being a photographer, like you said before. And that was it. It was the function of pre-selection, or what Dr. David Buss, the guy who wrote the book behind me, he calls it the mate copying strategy, which we can see in mammalian species and most two-gender species. Whenever you have a male that is surrounded by females, more females choose that male. We see that specifically with Homo sapiens. What you said before was very interesting. What are you talking about?
I don't know, man.
Which
I've
part?
tried the pivot game. I've fucking done all this stuff. I'm glad it's working for you. That's awesome.
Hold on. First of all, Richard, I want you to come out and be a judge for my bikini competition. I host $130,000 Playboy bikini
I've done
competition.
that. It didn't work either.
Okay.
I've fucking done everything.
You didn't.
I judged the bikini contest in Cancun.
You didn't do it
anyway,
with me. You didn't do it with me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know the game,
Yes.
so it'll work with you.
All right,
like,
so here's the thing.
You're going to help.
In what happens is, well, that's the thing though. It is the help, right? We're Homo sapiens.
Yes.
We are a species that communicates. We're able to pass down tradition, read facial expressions. We're able to communicate with one another. We're able to throw objects overhand and work as teams. And we have two eyes on the front of our head for depth perception. We are long distance hunters. We use that evolutionary ability in networking with other people to create an advantage.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I fucking slay. Like for a fat old dude, I absolutely murder. Like I've got several chicks trying to text me to get me out now. Yeah. Like I've got like, I'm a busy fucking boy.
Yeah.
But I still want to like, how high up the food chain can I go?
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to see, right?
For sure.
I'm rumored to be a billionaire. I have the world's largest diamond, right? What can I do with that? Is there anything I can do with that? Right. And it's so funny. Good.
I would recommend starting with the guys who are there and working backwards. I would recommend. So for me, what happened was I was like slowly like inculcated with some of the pickup. I used to work for Mystery a long time ago. I would slowly inculcated with some of these pickup guys, and I would see a lot of the things they said that weren't correct, and I would see it wouldn't work. And then I lived in Atlanta, and I was around these club promoters who were just fucking monsters. Like these guys literally would go out for their birthday and they'd have 30, 40, 50 girls with them. And I was like, there's a disconnect here. I'm only going to pay attention to the things that I empirically see work and figure out the theory later. That's what I did. So that's one of the reasons why like Bilzerian came to my birthday party last year, is because he and I have similar philosophies when it comes to this. I talk to every girl, but I don't hit on them. And what I do is I want to create this situation where it's like, it's not just that why are there a bunch of girls talking to Richard? It's I literally cannot go out anywhere other than where Richard is, because wherever Richard is the best goddamn party in the city by definition, because Richard's there. That's the thing that Dan created, that I created here in Las Vegas, is that understanding. It's not that my social circle keeps expanding. It's that my social circle becomes the social circle. Does that make sense?
I mean, I could quote you. Did I drop my mic? Is my mic still live?
Yeah, I can see.
We're still good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes, I know all those guys too. Yeah. And so like to quote something from Love Drop, who apparently really wrote the Mystery Method.
Yes, he did. That is a true statement.
Yeah.
And the first guy to ever tell me about Bitcoin. The first, Chris Odom's the first guy to ever tell me about Bitcoin.
He's a crypto guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of disappeared though. Yeah, I Googled his name.
You want me to I'll text him right now.
Heard of from years. Yeah.
Hold on. Hey Siri, message Chris Odom. What are you up to right now? Question mark.
Yeah. He made something called Open Transactions based on the Burkardian contracts or something, but then just dropped it, like stopped. I don't know what he's doing now. Well, he's got his theory's good. So like one of the things I heard him say that I thought was cool was like, people are like, oh, Rockstars, it's so easy to get laid as a rock star. And then he's like, yeah, but is it easy to become a rock star?
Right.
Like how many hours does it take to do the impossible? And so, yes, if you can become a rock star, you get laid. And here's the funny part: like I've hung out with rock stars, and they don't actually get laid that well. Like the groupies that show up aren't the highest quality, and they don't have time to find anything else, and they live in a bubble. And you're just like, they can't even get out of their own bubble. Like I was hanging out with a rock star. He's like, bro, that's the most fun I've had all tour long. I was taking him around the 1,000 horsepower Ferrari. And he's literally like, yeah, man, that's the most fun I've had. You know, we were taking videos from in the Ferrari. It was like, damn, dude, being a rock star sounds like weak.
Have you ever read The Setup by Dan Bilzerian?
No.
Highly recommend. There's two things. One of the things he talks about is going on tour with some rock stars and saying exactly what you said. It's like nobody got laid.
Oh,
the second,
that's funny.
The second thing, there was several other things. Like one of the things he did was his parties. Whenever there was parties, I usually bring somewhere between 100 and 120 girls to his parties, and the ratio he wants is about 7 to 1. Because what happens is like dude, it's weird. This social dynamic between men and women starts to break down.
25% of them are on their period immediately off the bat. So
possibly,
that knocks out 3. Well, I know the frequency at which these things happen.
No, I'm just saying that doesn't completely knock them out, Richard. That's
You're
all
still
I'm
in
saying.
there. You're like, give me my Red Wings.
Hey.
It's fine. Yeah, I get it.
You said it, not me.
What is all this?
Is that what's on your face, Richard?
I don't understand.
Okay.
It's fucking.
Listen, man. There's no try. There's only do.
Hey, bro. I know what's up.
Yeah.
I'm willing to work. I really work. Like I treat this. If there's anything I do as well as crypto, it's this. And I just want to make it easier for me. I'm playing on hard mode. It's like, oh, fat old hard mode. Oh, good luck, dude. Good luck. You know. But the guys I roll out with, they're hot. And when you talk about like the difference between like pickup guys and club promoters, like usually club promoters are very physically attractive in my experience. And usually they have a constant value they can offer you. And so the chick's like, oh, I get constant value out of this. Nice. I'll share with you something that
Sure.
I think this is my spiciest take. I'll share it with you since we're on your channel. Enjoy, buddy. I hope you don't get canceled. I'm willing to have fun just for fun's sake.
Yeah.
I don't need you to pay me to have fun. Girls aren't, mostly. So that's prostitution. What do they need? I need to see you this number of times, or I need actual money, actual prostitution. Or I need you to be exclusive. You can't have fun with anyone else. Or I need this government document. Now that I've got the government document, now we can have fun. That's just prostitution, man. If you need something above and beyond having fun to have fun with somebody else, you're a prostitute, and you shouldn't be proud of that shit. And I'm sorry that like 1,000 years of evolution and scarcity and not having contraception has caused you to think that being a prostitute is cool. It's actually not cool. What's cool is having fun for fun's sake and not putting a gun to somebody else's head and being like, oh, by the way, now that we've had fun, let me get you with the post facto, give me stuff now. You know what I mean? Like now, do I run into this a lot? No, I don't actually. But when I do, it really pisses me off.
Sure. The transactional nature of intersexual dynamics, yes.
Why don't you fill up your cup? My cup's already full. You go fill up your cup, and then we can just have fun as fucking equals. You want to be equal, right? That's what you want. That's what you think you want. Fine. Then get what you think you want. And like fill up your fucking cup and just have fun for fun's sake. I hate when I meet, like, I've met so many people that could be wonderful if they stop sucking.
Right.
And you're like, sucking's like a choice. You don't have to suck. Like you can just have fun for fun's sake. This isn't like, so I just, it was a breakthrough to me to understand that like a lot of what I have been okay with people doing in public is really just straight up prostitution. And you guys should feel like girls should feel bad about it.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
But you guys are making the world a worse place. Everyone's going to have less fun when we all die, and we're all likely to, unfortunately. You're going to have orgasms per hour, and y'all motherfuckers are going to have a lot less, and so is everybody else, because you're making the shit suck, because you're running the scarcity mindset. Like, look, 100 years ago, you messed around with a guy, it's an 18-year problem. You got 18 years of problem. He might leave you in a ditch. He might not take care of you, might not feed you when you need it. Those times are gone. That's not happening anymore. So now you're just going to have less fun. They're going to have less fun. And it's like, I know you can't like I know that evolution is slower and it takes time. And like 100 years from now, we'll have people that were afraid of cars because cars kill people so often. But right now, nobody really cares.
That's cultural.
Like seatbelt, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
if you're proud of your low body count, you're what's wrong with the world. Congrats.
Interesting.
Good job. I'm glad you have no variety in your life. Maybe you should try eating the same food every day. Like this, my head. I've run into every kind of like objection there is. I've run into all of them, and then just recently, I run into these transactional ones. Or here's the best part: girl likes me, girl wants to hook up with me. Girl won't because she feels like she's screwing up. She has to withhold that to get more because, man, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
And then I run into this thing where girls like me too much, and then we can't hook up because they raise their standards. Like I'm not gonna meet your standards. Like you're not gonna get the stuff you want out of me. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work. But then with people they like less, no problem.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect I'd have to get people to like me less, you know? And then like not respond to some text so they don't like you too much and then burn out. Like it's weird, man.
So female nature is, and male nature, by the way, is a function of 300,000 years of Homo sapien evolution, 3 million years of hominid evolution, and 178 million years of mammalian evolution. We're not going to change it. While I totally understand the whole, people get upset about hypergamy. The thing is, like, I've gotten to the point now where I understand this is the way the river is flowing, and I can either build a hydroelectric dam or try to swim up the opposite direction. So in this case, one of the things that I found is, like you said before, some of the objections happen because there's so much attraction and not enough comfort. And that was one of the things that I found that pre-selection really helped, is that I didn't have those objections when it was one of my extremely attractive female friends who was doing the introduction. The other thing that I found is when I talked to those girls that were impossible to find, the unbelievably hot playmates, one of the first things I always asked them is, when you met your boyfriend, what were the circumstances behind it? And the answer was never cold approach pickup in a fucking mall. It was always some person of value introduced me. Always. So that's why.
Yeah, but they've also never been to the mall, so it's like
right.
sampling
Of course.
If they were ever there, we could try it.
Okay. So here's a couple of things that I found to pull them out of those places. There's a couple of events. So red carpet at the Maxim party, 100, like the super high. What's it called? Reconfirmation rate, about 80%. Bulgarian's house, whenever he would throw the Ignite parties, that's like 8. That was the highest. Nothing was higher than that. If a girl said she was going to that, 100, almost 80, 90% of the time she was going to that. Charity event, like influencer charity event, that's like 50, 60%. And then when we got into photo shoots, then it got lower and lower and lower. Bikini competitions were about 50%. And so I would graph these things out and I would see, okay, which one of these events actually got these people to come out? The other thing is, for some of them, you might have a girl who, like you said before, has a boyfriend. Has a boyfriend. That's a fluid term. They have someone who claims, every girl, Richard, I'm sure you know this, every girl, there is some guy who thinks he owns that. Every girl you've ever been with, she'll tell you she doesn't have a boyfriend. There's nobody there. There's some guy somewhere who thinks that's mine, even if they've never even slept together. Every one of them has, in case of emergency break glass, there's a dude back there for them, every single one of them. So that's why the whole boyfriend idea is a bit fluid. But in these situations,
I do much better with girrs that claim to be single.
Okay, got it. Okay.
If they don't claim
that's
to be
why.
single,
That's why they're not claiming to be single, because it's the objection's already there. Does that make sense? Like, let's just say a girl says, I'm single. I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. George Clooney walks up. I'm single. Do you understand? Same girl. All of a sudden,
maybe
the objection goes away. Because I've seen this personally when I ask girls about this. It's like they're in Jamaica with me last week, and all of a sudden, none of them have fucking boyfriends. All of a sudden, none of them. I was like, I know you have a boyfriend. So it's one of these situations. By the way, men are just as bad. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like men aren't just as bad. But the situation is, it's
and bad at what?
As
lying about whether they have girlfriends or not?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't think so?
Actually, bro, it's been so long since I went out with dudes with girlfriends that, like, I don't even know how those people act anymore, to tell you the truth.
You know what? Hold on. Let's talk about this, because you actually brought up another point where you don't like to go out unless there's a bunch of girls with you. Do you remember saying this? I think it was Rolo's thing.
No, I usually don't go out with a bunch of girls with me, because they just get in the way of my game. Like, it's
because you said something effective like women make the world better, and it's more fun to go do these things.
I'm a better person when I'm around women.
Okay.
I'm a better person when I'm being attractive. Like, I'm a better person. Like, if a girl likes me, it makes me feel so good. All this crap I do, like dressing like a clown and taking the 30 minutes to set up all this crap behind me and getting all this weird stuff in the first place. This is like a lot of money of stuff behind me. There's probably like $100,000 of stuff sitting behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm just on vacation. So, like, it's I'm doing this to want to be loved, and it fucking works. People like this shit. Well, okay. Like when I just made a post on my Instagram where I look like a complete dumbass on purpose, hat turned sideways and shit. People eat it up. They
Yeah,
love
I
it. I'm
saw
like,
it.
all
I
right,
saw
y'all
it.
got to
Yeah.
keep rewarding me for that shit. That's what I'm going to keep doing. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe one day when I have, or maybe they're bored of the 6-pack pictures. Who the fuck knows? Right. Whatever it is. So I found a niche. It works. I'll stick with it until I get bored with it or find something better.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if I can get intimacy from a beautiful girl that I respect, she respects me, that's the best feeling. I was with a girl earlier today, respects me for me, knows me for me. There's been a lot of places with me. I like her a lot. And she knows I'm not, just with one girl. It's not fucking happening. And so, I feel better as a human being because I get that love and respect from her. And, there's other girls that if I'm near them, they treat me the same way, but they're spread out. So you're not always near them. Is this a Jay-Z song, Richard? Are you literally just singing "I've Got Hoes" in different area codes? Is that what you're doing? That's crazy. Very ballsy of you, white guy.
Ludicrous. Yeah. Ludicrous for
Was
sure.
it ludicrous?
It was ludicrous.
Nice.
Here's another thing. I was gonna tell you this off the air, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you're familiar with how the algorithms work on Instagram. So first off, 91% of my engagement. I'm running a business right now where I get most of my sales from organic. 91% of my interactions are accounts that do not follow me because I'm using Reels as opposed to regular posts now. That's been a huge transition. I had 1.3 million impressions last week, and that's where they came from. The second thing,
kick ass.
The second thing I will tell you is that what changed a lot of stuff for me was there's a limit to how many new threads you can open in DMs per hour. Okay, and that limit went from 10, 8 to like 6. Some of my guys, what we'll do is we'll hire a VA to do 6 invites to an event per hour to the point where we get 2,000 or 3,000 invites. You understand, even celebrities don't have 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 open threads with beautiful women. They don't, but we do. So what happens is, let's just say you're not coming to the States and I'm going to do, just throw something else, the Maxim Halloween party. And I have the guest list for it. So let's just say all the hottest girls you invite them, I put them on the list, they get to walk the red carpet. Even though you don't show up, you have open threads with all these girls. The algorithm, what it's going to do is, because now I have an open thread, they're more likely to show me as a woman your content, your stories, your reels, your posts. And now what happens is, now Richard wants to throw this awesome party. Let's say here in Las Vegas, you have a hex.com event and you want all the beautiful women here in Las Vegas to do this. You've already done the work ahead of time to have all these open threads. This is what I teach in my Men of Action program, what I'm telling you right now. You have already have all these open threads, and you're actually able to do something that no promoter can do. Promoters cannot actually mass text on Instagram. That gets put in the request folder. Yours does not get put in the request folder because you
have a thread.
Because you already had a thread, because you offered value previously to Babes in Toyland, to Model Citizen Fund, to the Bunny Ball, to the Playboy Mansion, to the Maxim, or what's it called, EDC on the Marquee Skydeck, the places where the beautiful people live, where you're basically in a fucking Instagram post when you're there. When you consistently do that, now the threads are open. Then occasionally those girls start following you. A lot of girls follow me because I was like the only guy that had Andrew Tate, Dan Bilzerian, and Paris Hilton all following me. They will see that and they'll be like, okay, who is this guy? Even though he only has 40,000 followers, who is this fucking guy? And that's essentially what happens is when you have that. So when you were talking about, I'm just trying to figure that out. This is, I also was trying to figure that out. And this is what I came to the realization of, which is why when I go to the Maxim party, I take 116 girls with me. When I go to Bilzerian's house, I try to take 90. With that's generally the way it works. And we did a party in Miami where we raised money for animal rescue and brought 300 girls to that. That's essentially how that whole thing works. Now, are all of them the perfect, most beautiful people? No, it's a charity event. But the charity event, what that does is it takes the girl who normally is like, fuck clubs, they're disgusting. Every dude there's trying to fuck me and give me cocaine. That girl who's bitter toward the nightclub scene, she will go to an animal rescue event. She will go to a human trafficking event. She will go to an event for the troops. Does that make sense?
Human trafficking event.
Yeah. Human trafficking. Yeah.
What are we doing? We're trafficking humans. That's what we're doing for the event.
We're trying to stop human trafficking. We're trying to stop. Let me make that abundantly clear. We're trying to stop human trafficking. Yeah.
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I end up doing something like what you're doing because I haven't figured out any other way, so be it. Maybe I should just try it because you say it works.
Yeah.
Right. But like I'm hanging out with a dude that does that already at a smaller scale. Yeah. And then you just can't convert. You're like, oh, cool. 10 more of you. Yay.
Got it.
or I've met 5 of you already. And what will we be doing this evening?
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
be going home
you're
to sleep.
correct.
Ah,
Correct. At
well,
some point, the
I
rubber
would
meets the
rather
road.
go.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you'd rather party in Wichita, and then like I found like a localized, very hot. It ain't like, I mean, I'm not falling for this shit. Yeah, I'm glad you like me. That's cool. A lot of people like me. And what else? You know what I mean? Like I like me too. Treat me like I treat myself. So
Yeah.
like it fucking, I don't fall for this shit very long, right?
Sure.
So like I'm gonna make it work, whether by hook or by crook. And it's just, maybe that's not the right phrase, Richard. You've been accused of being a scammer. Don't say by crook. Um, oh, by the way, for you guys listening, I was like sued for being the world's first spammer 20 years ago.
Yeah.
A guy sued me in civil court for $500. Small claims court, you can't have a lawyer defend you. It would have cost me more than $500 to go there to defend myself. Got called a spam king. So maybe I should put that in the thing. World's biggest diamond, quickest Ferrari, most expensive Rolexes ever made, and first spam king.
First spam king. That's beautiful. I love
The
that.
spamkin. Yeah, like it's like from my perspective, these girls that get invited to too much stuff, I do better on weekdays than I do on weekends.
Me too.
Why?
100%.
I think the girls on weekends see way hotter dudes and think they can get them, and then they waste their time trying to do that till the end of the night. And then whatever's around is around. It's not good enough for them anymore. They go home. They're like, "Ah, it didn't work out." But when they go out like during the day and then they see me, they're like, "Damn, that's the best I can do." All right, well, here we go.
Interesting.
I'm the best you're gonna do. And so like everyone wants to just do the best they can. And so when it's about your competition in a lot of these events, right? So like, why am I probably not closing with most, like a lot of these chicks that are super hot that I'm meeting? They're also being exposed to other guys of high social value on a regular basis
That's
due to
correct.
their hotness.
Yeah.
And now they look at me and they're like, whatever. There'll be another rich guy next week. And it's true because someone's shoving rich guys down their throat. It's like, in this case, it would be you. You're taking them to the sick party. So like, it's so my opinion, and I'm new to this style of game, is that like these girls that get invited to too much stuff aren't as useful. And I will have a better hit rate and have more fun with people that aren't invited to so much cool crap, because then hanging out with me is more awesome. So
Got it.
go where you're treated better, basically.
Yeah. I think it's a function of ratio, and I think it's a function of comfort, and I think it's massively a function of pre-selection. There's like when the guy has the promoter photo where he's got the glasses on and the bottles and he's like trying to be super ostentatious. One of the issues is, while that may be fine, is he receiving compliance? Compliance is, if you look at my photos, it's just a 5-degree tilt of the pelvis in towards me and just a hand on my shoulder. That's it. It's just a function of minimal amount of compliance. That compliance has a psychological effect amongst hominids. It just does. It does it with fucking monkeys. It does it with fucking it does with fucking some birds. Like, it literally just a small function of compliance from other females. That's it. That's the thing that I think changes it for you. And I think in your situation, I think one of the things is, Richard, you're too rich. It's a function where you're too, like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's one of these things where it's
I
like,
had a guy flip me off in my Rolls Royce today. I didn't even know who I was, just
Yeah.
flip me off because I had a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a girl break into tears last weekend. She said she got a fine. And I'm like, oh, that's not even that much money. And then her friend is like, what you said to my friend was so mean. And I'm like, I just wanted her to feel bad about, or feel good about a bad situation.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, but not everyone has as much money as you. And I'm like, the club you're in, you're saying that to me? Like, you chose to come to the rich people club where you're drinking free Dom all night and you're going to make fun of me for trying to make your friend feel good about her $50 fine? I'm like, God damn, you guys are terrible. You're terrible people. Like, the fuck's wrong with y'all? Y'all just drank like, $500 of champagne just to toot you, and you complain it because someone trying to make you feel good about your $50 fine. I have an idea. Don't break the law. There you go. How's that? Don't break the law, and don't try and make me feel bad for trying to make you feel good. Stupid, horrible person.
I think one of the issues, and it's not an issue, Richard, but like just imagine that in a couple of days I've got my friend Jamie Villamore. She's coming on, and Jamie Villamore has multiple master's degrees. She's a professional shooter. She's sponsored by several companies as an Olympic, not Olympic, but a professional shooter. But she's also an FHM model. She's an FHM cover model, and she's so outstandingly beautiful that you forget that she has the master's degrees. You forget everything else about her because she's so beautiful. I think with you, it's like, I think maybe the wealth just blinds everything else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that could
Yeah,
be an issue.
maybe. I've tried it. Like so I dress really fancy. And then I think that people's response to me when I dress fancy is a function of how comfortable they are with themselves. Cause I'm
Yes,
like they're on
that's exactly
stage.
right. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll wear all black. Like I actually kill on a black shirt just because I think that I can carry it with my facial expression and tonality and just framing, and that I don't need to like have the you're now on stage, everyone's staring at you, watching what's happening. Oh God, it's the glowing guy. The glowing guy's talking to her. Everyone looks, like they know they're being watched. So I think I do my best work in a black shirt, but I don't know, man, with these ones that are like getting high value intro all the time, I feel like I should rotate back into the more spicy Versace stuff. I don't know, man.
I actually tested it. I tested it. I went and tried different shirts, and I tested
Yep.
the thing, and I settled on black, exactly like what
Yep.
you said. Like again,
Yep.
the thing that I did different, like I keep telling people, is I started with what worked and worked backwards. I did not try to run a hypothesis on what I thought would work. I only ran scenarios of things that I had actually saw work. Which, by the way, I cannot recommend for you enough. Once again, read The Setup by Dan Bilzerian. It is there's so many things he says in there that are good, because you said some things about the scalability of social media. You are echoing exactly what he says in the book. That's why I think you would probably find a lot of, and he also talks about what happened for him. Is like, he just wanted, very similar to what you wanted. I wanted the easiest way to be with the most beautiful women, and I wanted to make a ton of money, and I wanted to be famous.
It sounds so cheap when you put it that way. It does sound cheap.
Yeah.
But this is the most beautiful thing you can do as a human being.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think the new human beings come from? Someone's got to go make them.
Yeah.
I'm going to screw up, and there's going to be humans pop out at some point. So, guys, if you want to see new Richard Harts in the world, someone's got to. They're not kicking down my door, like breaking in. I got to go get them. They're not like.
Listen, we're all hairless murder apes, dude. This is what we do. It's not.
Am I on a Rogan podcast now? Are we talking about chimpanzees now?
That's funny. That's pretty funny. Hey, Rich, I was wondering. So we were talking before about the safe places. What about Las Vegas? Do you not come here very often?
Bro, after being stopped by the police for shopping in a Best Buy, I'm really not coming back to the States. It's trash.
Really? Just the whole country? Because we tend to treat rich people pretty well in the city. I'm just, that's why I was a little You don't think so?
After hearing the car accidents happen behind me and seeing them happen in the rear view, and no, like it's
in
all
Vegas.
bad, bro.
In Vegas. Oh, okay.
And it's just, hey, that place where the dude with 20 machine guns unloaded like 10,000 rounds of ammo into a defenseless crowd of people. That one, the one where Dan Bilzerian was hiding behind a rock begging a cop for a gun. That Las Vegas, no, I'm good. I'm okay. Like, good luck out there, though.
All right.
Like, you remember that happened, right?
Of course, I was there. I wasn't there, but I was about a block away when that happened. Yeah.
I'm good. No counterplay. There's no counterplay. You can't return fire.
Right.
You're not even used to shooting at those inclinations. You don't realize that you have to shoot lower.
No one knew where they were shooting at, because what happened was people were hearing the bullets hit the ground, and it sounds the same. If you ever listen to a suppressed weapon, you can hear the action like this, and that's what it sounded like when the bullets were hitting the asphalt. It sounded the same way. So people thought there were shooters in the crowd firing like suppressed MP5s. That's what it sounded like. You can't tell from that range where the bullets were coming from. Also, the other thing is when the barrel was inside of the room, because remember he broke the hole open in the window, because there's no balconies in Las Vegas. You can't open the window in your hotel room. So when he broke those things open, when it was inside, it was muffled, and it was just really weird. You couldn't break it down until afterwards. People had no idea they were getting shot at from that direction. So it is a really odd situation. That
just American problems. That's never been the problem anywhere else in the entire world ever. Not once.
So you're talking about the gun?
That's never
problem.
A guy raining death from above upon a concert for a long while. That's never happened anywhere else ever.
Right.
So
I mean, it has happened. It has happened in Paris, right? There has been other places where it's happened.
No, that was just somebody they drive over other people there.
No,
or they're clearing streets with AKs.
In Paris, there was a nightclub where some people went in and shot up a bunch of people. That did happen in Paris. Yeah,
it happened in Florida too.
Yeah,
that happened in every high school in America. Like, I'm not for it, bro. I was just there for a few weeks. I'm done with it, man. It's not good. It doesn't measure well. It's like it's too violent, bro.
Got it. Okay.
Ask Tate. Tate will tell you, like, it's a violent world, man. Like,
yeah.
A lot of people figured out that it's more chill outside America. Like, it's just you don't have as much gunplay.
Got it.
Nice.
So this is another thing you said. I do appreciate like the blunt level of honesty that you have when somebody asks you why you do this. You do this for the glory. You want
Yeah.
people to know that you were right. I thought that was an interesting comment. Can you go over that?
Yeah, man. Like look, I've been retired for 20 years. I'm in this for the glory. You know, I can't even spend the money I have. It's just like I run out of crap to buy. I have Louis Vuitton ping pong paddles. I don't play ping pong. I have purses. I'm just buying purses that girls like. I'm using as cod pieces. I cover my balls with this. This is $3,500, $4,000. Like this, this in America, I think would cost you $25,000. It can hold one car key. So like, what am I gonna? Okay, I have more money now. What? My life needs to be good like now, immediately. I'm old, bro. Like my life needs to be good immediately. So all the stuff you dreamt about as a kid, like, oh man, if I was ever a millionaire, this is what I do. I need to do that crap now. Because in 10 or 20 years, man, if I'm still here, which I hope to be, like the hair is gonna get white. Hopefully I'll be like that Italian dude with the six pack dancing around on boats. But like if I'm not, I gotta make it good now. I don't have time to fuck around. So
The
for
Italian guy.
me, the glory is important.
Got it. And also the other people being wrong, like you being right and the other people being wrong. I thought that was an
Well,
interesting
yeah,
statement.
because it's a competitive thing. Like if you're competing for attention and there's an attention economy where it's been monetized and the algo only shows you certain things and people only have so much brain space, I need you to listen to me and not other people because they're trying to kill you and I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to make you richer, healthier, a better person, and they're trying to destroy you and get you chewed up by a meat grinder to get a commission, a referral fee. So the meat grinder people are winning. The meat grinder people have a lot of followers. The meat grinder
Yeah.
people are allowed to put out ads. The meat grinder, like the it's terrible. Like, are you getting celebrity endorsements for scams or are you getting celebrity endorsements for honest projects? Just scams. Are you getting like referral programs for honest projects or just for scams? Well, very often just scams.
Mm.
I had a referral program for a year. We timed it. Like we had it for the first year and then it was designed to shut off to be more efficient. Because why is there an extra middleman? Like, and so there's still other affiliate programs like people built on top, but the one that was for Hex was just designed to work for the first year because I like efficient systems with less middlemen. The minimum number of layers between product and service, or rather product and user, or service and user. So service E, I don't know what you call the user of a service. Maybe it's also a user. So yeah, like I'm very significance oriented. I want people to know that I'm here.
Yeah.
If you know that I'm here, I can save you. If you don't know that I'm here, I can't save you.
You mentioned also when you were on with Adam Sosnick about you were happiest when you were doing something, talking about Hex, when you were alone with your own thoughts, that you had some trouble
Yeah, being
there,
alone,
frustration.
like I'm hypersocial, man. I
Got
want to be talking to people. I want to be around people. If I'm alone, I'm texting people on the internet or arguing with them or something.
Mm.
But like my whole family's always been this way. Like my dad was constant talker. His dad was a constant talker. I'm a constant talker. Make eye contact with my dad, you're in a conversation, whether you want to be or not. It's happening. So that's for me just genetics. I really like communicating with people.
Nice. You mentioned about the Italian guy dancing on the boat when he's 50 something years old. That guy's on TRT.
Yep.
I don't know if you're
Of
aware.
course.
Yeah, okay. So now this is
And
my next question.
HGH, I'm sure.
For sure. Have you considered that?
Yeah, I have.
When I was your age, that's when I started TRT.
Yeah. I think it would be great to stop eating like an asshole.
Okay. That was my
Because
next.
then
that was the
you'd
next
get your
question.
natural testosterone's going to go up. I don't know about the HGH stuff. Like, I'm not sure I want my nose to get bigger and my heart valves to get bigger. Some people have great luck with it. Like Bill Zarian's on it. Seems to have worked out fine for him, but he also has had a heart attack. So I'm not even sure that he should be on that. He could even be over jacked. It's like, dude, you're jacked enough. Like, you don't need to be over jacked. Like turtle belly, it's not exactly what anyone really wants. Like, chicks aren't like, man, I need that turtle belly in my life. They don't really care about that shit. Like, Only other dudes care about that. Like once you're too jacked, the girls don't give a fuck about it unless they're thumb click girls. Canceled. This is where he got canceled right here. Yeah. So like I have good body. I just need to drop all this fat shit off of it. So I guess it's like one of the last things left. I run out of stuff to buy. Trying to avoid buying like planes and islands and shit just because they're going to suck up too much of my time.
Got it.
So I guess fitness is the final frontier for Richard.
Yeah, when I turned 40,
Coffee and meat.
Coffee and meat, getting rid of those things?
Yep. No, it's just eat only those things. The opposite.
Got it.
Yeah, like protein, coffee. That's it, bro. That's your life now. Here, have a tomato.
Yeah, I mean, you are over the age of 40. That's why I was saying like TRT
Yep.
is even if you were to eat really, really well, your total test is probably going to be, 400, 500, 600 if you're really, really, really lucky. And TRT will, get you back up to where you were when you were at 19. That's why, 12 million men are on it now.
I was probably at 300.
Probably 300, yeah.
Yeah, I've never had high T, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I'm turning.
Maybe I'll get roided up and go full clean, Deca, fucking.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. That'll make you look older. Yeah, no. I wouldn't recommend that. That's not a good idea. I'm turning 45 next week on Wednesday, and
you look good.
I appreciate that, man. I'm telling you, when I was 38, I didn't really want to have sex with my girlfriend that much. I was just kind of like, I was stumbling through the world. I made some money. Right. I just didn't really care about making a lot of money. I got on TRT, bro. I started a 7-figure business. I started this podcast. I got in the gym, maxed out everything. Like it was just life and death, but it was different. But the thing is, it wasn't different. It was just me at 19. That's all it was.
Right.
Does that make sense? My kidneys can handle my test when I was 19. It can handle it now.
Right. I don't know what's going on with my dick, but my dick works great.
There you go.
So
that's
maybe
a mental thing, man.
Is it?
I think with you, because you talked about this before, how much figuring this thing out with women means to you, right? So that means
I care a lot.
Well, you care a lot. So that's probably why it works so well. Does that make sense? Because so much of it is mental stimulation. Yeah. So that's probably why, But yeah, that's good. I know for a lot of guys, they get burnt out on it, either from a porn addiction or just being with a bunch of women or paying for prostitutes or something like that. Yeah.
Porn addiction. Porn's awesome. Jerk off as much as you can.
There you go. There you go.
Jerk off until your dick hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's free.
It's free. There you go.
I don't know, man. Sounds like a good addiction to have.
Two things you said that I couldn't quite square up. One of them, you have this collection of things, all these designer objects, and you also have the diamonds and the cars and stuff like that. Yeah. And then at the same time, you said you have a hard time spending money. Was this a transition, or how does that work? How do you have both of those things?
Well, all the shit you want, you can't get. Oh, you want a Ferrari SP3?
Oh, you have a hard time spending money on more things. Got it. I didn't understand what you're saying. I thought because I have a hard time spending money. I have a hard time paying. I can afford first class flights and I still don't use them. I have a hard time making myself spend money. But because you mentioned something before about the private jet, you didn't want a private jet.
No, I just mean like I've run out of shit to buy.
Got it. Okay.
Like I have a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, several Ferraris, a Lambo, the electric Rolls Royce on order, the 4-door Ferrari on order, the electric McLaren on order, 3 Teslas on order, fucking monster truck. Like I'm running out of shit to buy, dude. $10 million of watches. Like I buy shit. Like I have a Louis Vuitton kite I could go grab. Paid $10,000 for it.
That's madness, bro.
I don't fly kites.
Yeah.
It's just fucking. I've pushed the limits of, but Richard, give me the money. No, fuck you. You go make it yourself. I made a product that went up in price 1,000,000% in 2 years. Did you get rich? No. Maybe I don't miss my next thing. Pulsechain.com. Check it out. Like and I raised 27 over charity. Boom.
Would you say the majority of your net worth now came from your initial investment in Bitcoin or from your current holdings in Hex?
I can never tell you about my net worth. I can't ever tell you about my money or my coins. It's all downside. No upside.
That makes sense.
It's like I'm rumored a billionaire, but they're rumors. Who knows? Maybe I'm broke. Maybe I maxed out my Black Amex to buy all this crap. but I have been retired for 20 years. So maybe I'm good at stuff. I mean, look, also, if you can call the top on the day, which I've done like 2 cycles now, like 2017 and recently, isn't that enough on its own to be pretty killer as far as finances goes?
Right.
Like, but then I also launched like the 1,000,000% return coin, and then I also mined Bitcoin at 50 cents. Then I also bought it at $30, ate the top. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Like, like I keep winning over and over and over and over again. Like, it's going well. And this is pre the movie coming out. Soon my movie will be out.
So
It's gonna be awesome.
how do you deal with the criticism? I know it bothers you a lot. You've mentioned this before. For every one thing that somebody calls you a scammer, it would take 10. You said it was a 10-to-1 ratio.
Well, it's a bullshit asymmetry.
Yeah.
There's a name for that law. Can't remember what the name of it is. It's basically, for every stupid thing someone says, people are like, "Oh, you didn't call the top." You're like, "Yeah, I did." They're like, "No, but it went to 69K." And you're like, "Yeah, for like a minute or two." Then you have to show them the chart. Like, let's look at the chart. Okay. Here's the time that my call has been in profit. Here's the single day that the candle began and ended and didn't wick into that profit area. It's 0.1% of the area. So here's me being right. Here's me not getting the top at 69, which is 6% higher than 65. That's calling top. You'd be very happy to sell here
For sure.
instead of the 20K that it's at right now. And I called it so much earlier that you could have put that capital to work in other ways because it was 6 months, I believe.
Why did you see 65?
The first top and the second top?
What made you
Well,
say
it was the day of the coin. It was the day of the Coinbase launch.
Okay.
And the Coinbase launch was the same as the CME launch. And the CME launch was the top in 2017. So when Bitcoin listed on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that was the top. And when the Coinbase IPO happened, that was the top.
Got it.
On the day.
That makes sense.
Buy the rumor, sell the news event. You could see the premiums decreasing on the Grayscale Bitcoin premium, and now those are down negative 35 to 37%. I didn't check today. So we're still due to drop more. Like Bitcoin should still go down to 10K. I say 11K because people front run my calls. So 11K is just easier to hit. So I say 11K and pray is my current call and has been for months and months and months. And then Ethereum should go down to 600. We'll see.
Do you feel like if there's a liquid options market or a liquid way to short?
There is.
A liquid options market for Bitcoin?
Yep. And Ethereum. There's you can empty your life savings into that market. No one will notice.
I believe that you can. Well, liquid, I mean, the bid-ask spread is we're 5 cents for options on those securities.
I mean,
on which exchange? Because like I trade options for a living. That's what I do, and like the bid-ask spread for what I've seen for Bitcoin and Ethereum is pretty high, especially because that CME product is 5 coins. It's kind of a disaster.
Yeah, but I don't think that's where most of the volume happens. Like I'll answer this question for you.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully it won't make the actual video because I hate when people lose their life savings trading.
Yeah.
The most dangerous thing you can do is trade.
Yeah, agreed. No,
the odds appear to be worse than Vegas because you tend to leave Vegas sometimes, but when you trade, you just trade till you have nothing left.
Right.
And so because the house edge is multiplied against you for a longer period of time, and it's a higher skill cap, you're more likely to lose trading than you are even at Vegas. So I think the highest volume for options is at Deribit, Derbit. They've got Ethereum, Bitcoin. They probably have other stuff. I don't know. And I think they do the highest options volume in all of crypto.
Okay.
There are some other options products that are on-chain only, but they probably have quite low volume. But like, I don't know why you care about the bid-ask spread so much on an instrument that like, are you really scalping options? I mean, usually options are longer time horizon things, no? Are you doing condors or iron eagles or like what's your?
Well, if you're selling options, you're looking for about a 45-day time frame because of the theta decay.
Okay.
You're
Yeah,
talking about
I mean,
you're talking longer dated.
well, I
Like
just don't know
leaps?
why you would care. Like, I don't know if the
Oh no,
bid-ask spread,
it's not that I care. What I'm asking is if there was a
they're
regulated,
extremely liquid
right? Well, if there was
and they're regulated.
they are
They're both.
regulated or not regulated?
Yeah, they
The,
have a license to operate as an exchange.
okay, got it.
And they AML KYC you out the ass, and they're owned by entities which have public facing people, and they're as legal as crypto exchanges get.
Got it.
So if you wanted to play crypto options, that is probably your best bet. I don't know. I mean, apparently Ethereum options volume just beat Bitcoin options volume on CME recently. And they still do, last I checked, hundreds of millions of dollars of volume a day on their futures product.
Okay.
I don't know about options. So
the
actually,
options.
hold on. I might have misspoke there. I believe that Ethereum futures volume just exceeded Bitcoin's futures volume.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's another game in town for options other than Deribit.
Okay.
And they do huge volume there. So
okay.
Let me know how it works. Let me know how it goes. I don't think you'll find someplace better for crypto options.
Got it. Okay, no, but my actual question that I was going to get to is that would a liquid options market actually take some of the volatility out of some of these products? But you're saying there already is.
No.
Okay, you don't think it would?
No, it wouldn't. I mean, it's like it did the Chicago Mercantile Exchange take the volatility of Bitcoin?
Well,
quote, we will tame Bitcoin.
It's
was the founders
it's not fair because one of the problems was when that product is ridiculous. It's 5 coins. And it was 5 coins even when, and it was like you had to hold 90% notional in order to trade it. It was not a useful product at all. Retail traders just stayed away from the fucking thing. So that's the reason why that CMA product was a joke. But that was the first regulated Bitcoin, analog that there was. So, people would look at the ticker symbol. The problem is nobody would trade options on it because you were covering the options were way too big. You had to create this fucking tiny little spread between your long option and your short option to have anything that was even like reasonable to trade. And a lot of people just didn't want to do it. So they were looking for like NVIDIA as a proxy for Bitcoin or something else as a proxy for Bitcoin. But the options trading on that CME product was nonsense. It was not existent. So I'm not surprised that Ethereum would beat it when something was 5 coins.
Well, ridiculous. I mean, look, no, like all the options volumes on Deribit.
Okay.
So
I'll definitely go check it out. That's definitely the next thing. We have a podcast we do here called Bit About Crypto. That's one of the podcasts they do here. So let me ask you about this. The Craig Wright, is that his name? The dude who claimed to be
Wright.
Craig Wright. Sorry. Can you tell me about that whole thing? I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was terrific how you didn't lose you weren't sitting there. What I cannot stand, dude, is people going on YouTube and calling somebody a son of a bitch and they have nothing to back up what they're saying and they're starting off with pejoratives. You actually questioned this guy and asked him to do simple, logical things without raising your voice. And so that's one thing I really appreciated. Could you go into that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, so you claim to be Satoshi. All right, well, post on Bitcoin Talk. You got your username and password, right? Go post on Bitcoin Talk. Go send an email from Satoshi at gmx.com. You used to have that account, right? Go post on GitHub. You have a GitHub account, right? Go do any of the things that Satoshi used to do. Go write some code. Go ahead. Write code. Doesn't do any of those things. Can't do any of those things. All right. Fine. Can't do any of those things Satoshi used to do publicly. Can't talk like him. Can't write like him. Can't use any of his old passwords. We'll just spend some of his old coins. He invented a system which gets rid of trust and replaces it with cryptographic signatures. So why don't you get rid of begging us to trust you and just use them cryptographic signatures and sign something from some early blocks? Doesn't even have to be the Genesis block. Give me block 5 or 6. That's fine. No, can't do that either. That's funny. How come you're always asking people for money? Shouldn't Satoshi, who has like 10% of the Bitcoin supply or like 1 million coins, 5% of the Bitcoin supply, shouldn't he have like enough money to get stuff done? Why are you always asking people for money, bro? Why did you fork a fork of Bitcoin? Bitcoin Cash was a fork of Bitcoin, and then you made a fork of Bitcoin Cash called, I can't even remember what his coin's name is. It's a fork of a fork. Why wouldn't you just write Bitcoin improvement proposals and improve the actual Bitcoin that should be 100% of your net worth because you own 5% of all the coins based on your claims that you're Satoshi?
Yeah.
And on down the list. Why did Vitalik Buterin call you a fraud to your face?
Does anyone agree?
Why did Richard Hart call you a fraud to your face? Yeah, tons of people.
They believe him, really. That's interesting.
Tons. Yep. And he's even fooled technically savvy people because he thinks about how to fool people. So it's like, and then, Vitalik's like, hey, what's the easiest way for someone to prove the Satoshi? Okay, and if you're not doing the easiest way, you're scamming.
Yeah.
Just sign something. No? Okay, scam. That easy. And that there's all types of other proofs. Like he's removed a lot of his papers that were shown to be plagiarized or just wrong. You know, his own mother calls him a habitual liar. His mother says he's been a liar his whole life. That's his own mom. Your own mom ain't got your back. It's like, damn. Ooh, it's not good.
And you believe that the actual Satoshi is dead?
Well, I don't know if he's dead, but people tend to spend money if they're still alive.
Right.
And if he's not dead, he's a coward. Vitalik invented Ethereum. I invented Hex. I talk to people about Hex all the time. Vitalik talks about Ethereum all the time. Why doesn't Satoshi come out of the woodwork and just talk about Bitcoin? What's wrong, bro? You a pussy? I got it. When Bitcoin.org gets hacked and a scam appears on Bitcoin's main website, and I have to do an emergency live stream to warn people not to fall for it, why ain't Satoshi doing that? Why do I got to protect his people? So I do more to protect Bitcoiners than Satoshi does. I give Bitcoiners free money. You could have minted Hex for free if you're a Bitcoiner. First year, there was free claim. Satoshi give you any free coins lately? Satoshi warn you when Bitcoin.org gets hacked? Satoshi fight the No2X UASF New York Agreement battle back in 2017 where the mining companies tried to take over Bitcoin protocol? No, I did. I was there. Satoshi was not. So Satoshi, if you're listening, stop being a bitch. Come out here and try and make the world a better place. I'm tired of doing your job for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, all those things seem like, yeah. I don't. When I watched it, had a hard time understanding how anyone would believe him. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
you telling me that people believe him, I'm actually surprised by that because
it sucks.
Yeah,
They do. Yeah, but I mean, like, there's this. People have sold the Eiffel Tower several times because people that fell for it were like, "There's no way you would like fake trying to sell the Eiffel Tower."
Right.
Like the government really must be trying to sell it off or something. And so there's this dude that like sold the Eiffel Tower and scammed people like more than once by pretending to be the French government selling it. And you're like, wow, surprised that works. So like very bold lies sometimes work for people.
Like the Earth is flat.
Yeah. Yep. It's wild.
It is.
So if you can believe the Earth's flat, you can really believe anybody's Satoshi if you really want to.
You know that number is growing, right? There's 4% of millennials think that the Earth is flat, and that number is going up. It's just a denial of science that is causing this. It's pretty amazing, and like nobody thinks it's an issue. And I'm like, dude, this is going to be one of the biggest issues.
Bring back the Tide Pod challenge.
Yeah,
maybe the Tide Pods will kill them off.
Yeah, there'll be a selection pressure through evolution
or whatever.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I wrote a couple free self-help books and like people want to read them. Like, Richard, will you mentor me? Have you read my book? No. Go read my book. My book's better than me. I forgot all the stuff that's in the book. Go read the book. I wish I took all my book's advice. Go read it. It's free. People don't want free. So I'm going to have to put like a paywall in front of it and make people pay, and then they'll care more. And like, God,
hey, that's
weird.
I know you said that before. That is absolutely true. I was coaching for 12 years for free. And when I started charging people to take my coaching, the results were 50x. People, because they had skin in the game. When people have skin in the game, man, you've ever seen, you buy a new car and then every time you see that car, you start noticing it more. It's like this bias, this confirmation bias that happens. When people spend
reticular activating system.
Yeah, reticular activation system.
What causes that.
For sure. And then the other thing is, I just thought it was just really interesting hearing you talk about an inalienable right to privacy. I had talk about illegal search and seizure, how some of these things, your government, I love the analogy that you use. It used to be, it's a federal offense if somebody goes through your mail, but now everybody goes through your mail. And so how that right to privacy has been eroded and how this may be able to get it back for you.
Yeah, like until they put the developer in jail, they put the Tornado Cash developer in jail in the Netherlands. A developer. That's not good, guys. That's bad. Free speech, It's terrible.
I mean,
Like
why did they put him in jail? Was there a criminal reason they
for
put him in jail?
writing, no, for just writing the code that allowed people to have privacy.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And people forget, like, it's not okay that if I spend money from a crypto address, that you see a history of everyone I've ever paid, anyone that's ever paid me, anything I've ever done, when I did it, how much, my net worth, everything. It's not okay. And it's not okay if you're a business either. I can't have you look at my entire customer list because you sent me money once.
Yeah, that's how
I can't. My suppliers know what I'm paying. So like, you, it, we need privacy to function as human beings, which is why it's a human right that is enshrined in the United States Constitution, in the United Nations Charter, and lots of other places. And then people try and wrap their, we want to see. I personally want to see all your stuff, is what they really want. But since they're too busy like making bad laws, they don't have the time to go read everybody's email. But they would if they could. And then they're just like, oh, well, it's for the kids. It's either for the kids or for the terrorists. Those are the two things, right? You can have no freedom and no power and no technology and nothing because terrorists exist and child molesters exist. Therefore, freedom cannot exist, and you must live in an Orwellian surveillance state because the kids. And you're like, nope, doesn't make any damn sense. I'm not going to live in an Orwellian, go hire more actual law enforcement. I'm not going to deal with you having fake law enforcement. Fake law enforcement is enforcement that harms everyone up front. Oh, somebody used anonymity for bad. Now no one can have it. Oh, someone used a car for bad. No more cars. Someone used electricity for bad. No more electricity. Doesn't make any damn sense. So what we need is more technology, not less. More anonymity, not less. More cryptocurrency, not less. More freedom, not less. And this, when's the last time your taxes went down?
Right.
And so if your taxes never go down, they only go up, at some point, aren't you actually just a slave to the state? Yes, mathematically. If taxes only ever go up and never down, you will become a 100% slave to the state. That's where we're headed. Every single law that has a dollar attached, like you can only travel with X dollars over the border. Guess what, buddy? That dollar value goes down and down and down to nothing, which means that you won't be able to carry any money over the border because it will be inflated to nothing. You'll need $10,000 to buy a cheeseburger. And then you can't cross a border with $10,000. So every single law that's ever been written that has a hard-coded, not consumer price inflation changed number is destined to fail over time because they're devaluing the currency to zero. So all hard-coded laws have to float over time. Yeah, they're worth nothing.
Yeah.
And like on down the list. So the only upside is that like they haven't raised parking taxes some places. So now if you break the law parking, you don't get hit as hard as usual. But crypto solves a lot of this, man. And even if it didn't, it can make you rich. So yay.
Have you ever read *Sapiens* by Yuval Noah Harari? He has a
I read it.
series. Then the third
I
book,
read it.
The second book,
I wrote it.
Yeah.
Lol.
In Homo Deus, he talks about data-ism at the end of the second book, where he talks about the reason why the United States defeated the Soviet Union wasn't because of capitalism or communism. It was because the flow of data through the United States and their system was faster. And anything that causes the flow of data to increase is better, and anything that slows it down is worse. The idea that the actual problems are not going to be solved by progressive or conservative politics, but instead by technology. Have you ever heard of this ideology?
It's an okay idea. Not sure if it's true. So, South Korea has the highest internet connection speeds, yet they have currency controls where you can't move the currency across borders freely. Oops. So that like, kind of contraindicates his idea. And then you've got other places where like, Sweden has very good internet, but then like rape capital of Europe.
Right.
Maybe they're miscategorizing the rapes. Maybe their immigration policies didn't work. Maybe both. I think more data throughput's better. I just think that the degree to which it's better may be like 15 or 20% and not like 200 or 300 or 200 or 300%.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So I know it's better, but like, here's another one. Romania has like the second highest internet throughput and cheapest access.
I think
their country sucks.
I think specifically what he's talking about is also like no censorship. When I say the speed of data, I also mean like just more data in general. Anything that slows.
Well, yeah, but like Romania and South Korea don't have data censorship, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. But
So
currency controls would go against that data-ism belief. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is to call all money data, which a lot of people would disagree with.
There is
because
data.
like we're not allowed to have
data.
allowed to have financial privacy, but we are still kind of allowed to have some communication privacy. I mean, like these are these are like navel gazing theoretical questions where the answer doesn't change anything you're going to do anyway. Like we all want cheaper internet access. We all want faster internet access. I don't think we could want it any more than we already do. Maybe this could be a call for less censorship. That would be nice. We do have a huge censorship problem in the States. There are words I'm not using on this podcast that I would prefer to use that I know would get you canceled.
I think what it actually has to do with is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I personally think the United States, if somebody wants to get an art history degree, that's fine. Just pay it for yourself. In the United States, I think we should be rewarding people who want to get degrees in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
I think all that fake bullshit should just be waste. Like, no more fake bullshit.
It's not.
No. You're doing fake shit. Like, oh, the country that just has fucking like, how do I phrase this? Most people's jobs don't do a goddamn thing.
Okay, this is the goods and services versus accounting argument that you had before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
got it.
There's memes about this shit. Like her face when I don't tip when all she did was turn the iPad to me. I bet like when I was in the States, I got asked to tip at every fucking store.
Yeah.
The lady that sold me a USB charger asked for a tip. And I was like, when the fuck did this happen? I used to sell retail electronics. I never asked nobody for no fucking tip. When did every single employee ask for tips now? Like literally, when did that shit happen?
You use the example
last year, 10 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not okay. Like, no, I'm not giving you a tip for me buying something from you, you stupid fucker. What? Do I tip my car salesman too? Like if I buy a used car, I got to tip them, dude, that just sold me a bad car for too much money? Or like, I don't get it. It's really weird to me. I don't know when it started because I've been out of there for so long.
Yeah,
like most jobs are bullshit, bro. Oh, you fucking you kind of almost knew your inventory. Like when I go to a store and I want to buy something and I know more about the product than you, I know more about your inventory than you, I know more about the other options. I know this store. Why don't you pay me for the privilege of coming here to educate your ass, the person that works at the store? You don't know shit about shit. It's like going to Home Depot and like talking to the girl in Power Tools. And you're like, so which of these hammer drills do you like better? She don't know fuck all about hammer drills, bro.
Okay.
She ain't never used a hammer drill in her goddamn life. She don't know what an SDS drill bit is. She has no fucking idea. Yeah. And I run into this across all sectors of retail. No one knows what the fuck they're doing. It's crazy. Like so that whole like, an iPad should replace most of these motherfuckers. You don't even, and I wear size like 13 shoe. Sometimes 14, depends if it's Nike or whatever. And these people can't even tell me what's in stock. It's like, listen, I just want you to tell me the goddamn shoes that you have that might fit my foot. That's it. That's all I want. Most of these computer systems they can't even sort by size. They have to go model and then look at the sizes. And so they'd have to click every fucking size. That's just a systematic, everyone in retail stupid problem. Y'all know people that come in your store have a specific foot size that ain't variable. And so just show them what they can fit. It ain't on the shelves no more. It ain't pay less. The pay less, you damn see what was on the shelf. But now they hide everything in the back. It shouldn't take 2 hours for you to tell me whether you got shoes that's going to fit me or not. And I know the answer is no anyway, almost everywhere. Because everyone in centimeters, it's a 46. Everyone stocks up to 45.
Yeah, nobody has shoes in my size either. I'm the same way, dude. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I know I got to order them online, and I don't even know if they're going to fit. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's where I'm at. Like I'm trying to give these retail dudes some money and you're just making it near impossible. You don't have the VIP stuff. There's a glow in the dark bag here. That's a $25,000 bag plus. You can't get it at the store. It's not there.
Yeah.
You gotta get it online. All this, like bro, online shopping is where I'm going to end up because like the selection and the service in person is just crap. And there's nothing more irritating. I spend so much with Louis Vuitton, they fly me to Paris and put me in hotel for Fashion Week just to sell me more stuff. They send me Christmas cake. They send me Easter eggs. These dudes like how much money I give them. Actually, I just gave them a lot more money too recently. I'll tell you all about that. Well, I mean, I spent like 50 grand on like a Lady Gaga sculpture from Dom Perignon. I spent I don't know, like 200 grand on general like fashion stuff. It was just in Paris. And anyway, so I go to Paris and I'm like, okay, let's go to the main store. Let's get loaded up. I went to all their little stores, Champs-Élysées, Vendôme, they got several stores. They ain't got my damn size and nothing, man. You know how irritating it is to go, yeah, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that. Yeah, I'll buy this stuff. No, I'm sorry, sir. We don't have your size in any of these items. But I left like that whole trip. All I bought was a single shirt. I'm like, damn, this is a huge waste of everybody's time. How about you guys actually, stock some products in American human male size instead of midget size or whatever it is? Like, it's irritating me, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to go.
It doesn't make sense to me how it's like that.
It makes me think there's something wrong with me over and over again. Like, oh, I suck. Apparently,
yeah, it's like
hey, these Asian tourists are killing it there. These Asian tourists, they got everything fits them, man. That's great. But me, I'm terrible. Screw me.
It feels like they just stock the middle of the normal distribution, right? They just pick the one standard deviation and they don't go outside of that whatsoever. I wear size 13 shoes and I can't find them fucking anywhere.
Yep.
We're in the same boat, bro. I see the shoe and then I have to go online and then find the same shoe out.
Hope. Yeah. And that even make it up that size. I just bought some Chanel shoes actually. Hey, look at this here. Hey guys at home, you got Chanel shoes? No, you don't, but I do. Why? Because I'm better than you. I'm a better human being than you are. Chanel shoe. I had to try on 6 different pair of Chanel shoes to get one that fit. This one actually fit. I was like, yay, finally. Now I can have Chanel shoes. Girls love Chanel because it's the most expensive purses. See this purse here? Oh, Richard, really? Is that a Chanel purse right there? This purse? $15,000. Oh. So beautiful. I get purses because women understand that language.
That is,
so they don't understand watches, but they do understand purses. Oh, cool. I'll wear purses then. See you in the club.
Probably the best bikini competition, or one of the best ones I've ever thrown. The first prize was a $40,000 Birkin. And it was funny how there was like this additional, when I would ask the girls, it wasn't just, you want $40,000 in cash? There was something about getting that Himalaya that was so interesting. Like
I would love a Birkin Himalaya if you have any extras. The Birkin Himalaya is an alligator with a white and black color scheme on it. That's Vegas, how much I know about bags.
Message Vegas Dave. Message Vegas Dave. I'm serious. It probably has one to sell you.
I want the golden diamond one, dude. They did the golden diamond Himalaya that was like $2 million retail. I wonder what it costs now. Curious.
This is another thing. Your predictions about the economy coming up. You talked about the unwind and the I love this term from economics, the velocity, because I studied physics. The velocity of money. That the idea that money has an inertia, the money has a momentum. The idea that rate slows down as interest rates go up, and then the effects that you think that's going to happen on the general market and on crypto.
Yeah, well, crypto's risk on asset. It will go down as long as stock market goes down. Stock market goes down with interest rates going up. They're inversely proportional. And so, crypto's going to go down as long as rates keeps going up, as long as S&P goes down. They might decorrelate at some point. I don't think we're there yet. I mean, we've seen slight decorrelation over the last few days, but that's not a very long enough time sample to really be secure in it. And then basically, like, if you've been sitting on cash, you've just been getting richer because everything's gotten cheaper. And so all that really matters is goods and services. And so in the very rare case that cash becomes more valuable, you've just seen it over the last couple of weeks, couple months, because they've been raising interest rates. So once they start lowering interest rates again, and eventually they will, because this currency is going to go to zero, or so close you don't care the difference, then crypto is going to shoot up the most. S&P will go up. Maybe one day there'll be 40 millimeter Rolex watches on shelves again. Today is not that day. They're all still sold out globally. So, maybe the bottom of the bear market is when the first retail Rolex is still actually for sale. Like you can actually look on a shelf and buy one. They make 1 million watches a year. They're selling out 1 million watches a year. And they're expensive. Like I've got a $1.4 million Rolex. So now from the factory it's probably 650,000, but I paid a premium because retail, and they only made 3, I think. So yeah, like macroeconomic, when you're charting everything versus the dollar, when the dollar becomes more valuable, it looks like everything else is going down. But if everything else is going down at the same time, what really matters is the ratio of what you have to what you don't have that you want. So if your stock market portfolio got wrecked by half, but the house you want to buy got wrecked by half, congrats, you broke even because you're going to buy the same house with your stock stack. Yeah, it's hard for me to care about interest rates and legacy finance when, hey, when do I get my 100x? Never. Oh, well, I'll be in crypto where, we do 1,000x, 10,000x, 100x with preferential tax basis, flawless uptime. I'll take that. You guys play around with your 20%. Like in order for you to double your money in the S&P, you had to hold for 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could double your money in like a good weekend in crypto. So like but this is like, so you say the framing, it sounds too good to be true. You're like, yes, it does. And almost always all of this language would cause what was on the other side to be a scam. But this is the only thing in the world that completely sounds like a scam that's not. Go look at the chart. Crypto's not new. Bitcoin was invented in 2009. Bitcoin is 13 years old. It's not new. Old. 13 years is a very long time in technology. So you want to learn from the chart? You want to participate in the thing that went up in price 690 million %? Or do you want to keep playing stupid stock games with stupid lame duck? Oh, wait 14 years to get a 2x. And by the way, inflation ate away a huge portion of that. While you were waiting 14 years for your 2x, inflation nuked most of your gains. Boo-hoo. Should have bought crypto, bro. Don't screw up again. Buy the thing that goes up more and dips more, and buy the more dip. Lucky you. Imagine you could buy 10 Rolls Royces for the price of 1 because there was dip. It's like nowhere else in the world do you get that opportunity. But in crypto, you get that opportunity. You can get a ton more for a lot less, more so than any retail product. You don't get 80 and 90% off sales on things that have enduring demand.
If I was going to trade Hex, what exchange would it be on?
Well, you wouldn't use exchanges, do it all on chain, which is another reason why Hex is amazing, is because it's the most honest and transparent system. So you would go to, 1inch.io, matcha.xyz, M-A-T-C-H-A. Those are order aggregators that will spread your order across all available liquidity on chain. And so you'll get best order execution doing it that way. You could also use limit orders. 1inch and Matcha both support limit orders, so you can even trade without paying gas, I think. I see the button that says that, so I think you can. I'm not sure if it supports all coins or just some pairs, but I think that you can do it without using gas. And limit orders don't use gas anyway, so I know you can. I know you can do it without using gas. You just have to pay the gas to like authorize it, but then after it's authorized, you don't have to pay gas anymore because it happens off chain. Like you sign the statements, which allows people to perform the trades, and then they're the ones paying the gas, not you. And then you just see the coins disappear out of your account until like your order fills or times out. Yeah. So, matcha.xyz, 1inch.io, or you could use uniswap.org, or you could use ethhex.com, ETHHEX, any of those, but the order aggregators are the best ones because they spread your order across the most liquidity. So you get the best price, the least slippage. I guess the least slippage is limit orders, but most people just market buy, market sell.
And then could you explain Plusechain? We haven't talked about that on.
Yeah, Plusechain is just my copy of Ethereum.
Okay.
So, you're going to get all of your coins for free on a new chain. Enjoy. And you can go use them on testnet now. Just go to pulsechain.com, throw the settings in MetaMask, and you can go play around on the testnet trading it's probably the best game on the blockchain. Can you get rich on your Pulse free testnet coins? Like in theory, go play around on there and see how it works out. It's all play money, so you can't lose.
Okay, got it. All right, so I'm going to be able to mint.
Eventually, it'll be real money.
Okay,
we just need to get mainnet for that.
So Plusechain is not out yet,
Not yet.
Eventually, I'm going to be able to mint hex coins with Pulsechain like I do with Ethereum.
Everybody that has hex or hex stakes on the Ethereum blockchain will get a copy of them on the Pulsechain, and now you're going to have hex on 2 chains.
Okay.
No.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Is there anything else you got coming up?
I mean, I would hope everyone goes to see my awesome free stuff. So you want free coins, pulsechain.com. You want free books, t.me/scivive. You want free price calls, t.me/Richard's calls, twitter.com/RichardHartWin, Instagram.com/RichardHartOfficial. I even got a TikTok, Richard Hart Diamond on TikTok. Unfortunate I couldn't get the same name on any of these platforms. And then, yeah, be on the lookout. I think Bitcoin's going to drop down to 11K. I think Ethereum will drop down to 600. Anything else? Free books, world's largest airdrop, richardhart.com. If you want to see me brag about all my stuff. I think that covers it. Free books, free education, free videos. I do YouTube, youtube.com/RichardHart. Free price calls. Coin that has flawless operation for over 1,000 days with 1,000,000% performance. If you didn't stake it, if you staked it, you got more. I think that's it. I think it's my highest and best use to you guys. And if you're an extremely hot chick, hey, I'm stupid and I have too much money. Come free me from some of it. Come game me. Let's go.
Oh, there's the TikTok clip right there, man. That's the one, bro. That's the one. He'll fly you out to his moon base. That's where he is right now. That's why there's a delay, because he's on the moon. That's what's going on. He's using a VPN. We can't tell. He's on the fucking moon right now. Awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you so much.
You didn't
I didn't expect you to be a genius and do so much damn research.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. You're smart and you're well researched, and that makes me very happy. I've enjoyed this conversation greatly.
Hey, man, I look forward to talking to you again, man. If you ever want to,
Sounds good.
The thing, like,
come to Europe and we'll do one of your things.
I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, for sure.
I'm here now. Come to Europe. We'll go do one of your things. I'll tell you how it works.
Okay.
I'll tell you if it works out.
Beautiful. If you need help with anything,
I'll make them scream your name, bro. Whatever it takes.
I don't know how to take that, bro. I'm not sure. Well, if I want them screaming your name, if they're naked with you, they don't need to scream my name. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep that. But yeah, if you need help with anything, just hit me up, and I definitely.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm trying to do, bro.
Of course.
You know exactly what I'm trying to do.
I do.
So anything that fits in with that, I'm here.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, man. All right, we'll look forward to talking to you again. Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not that popular. I'm not famous, but I try to do as much more work than anybody else with my podcast. So I do really appreciate you saying that.
You did great. Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Very impressed. I don't think anyone's ever done so much research as you did. It's amazing.
I appreciate it,
man. It makes conversation better.
I agree. The trick.
Thank you so much, bro.
The trick is triple speed. If you can go triple speed
really?
podcast, yeah, that's a trick. And then take.
I can go 2x or 1.6x depending on speaker, but my playback doesn't want to do 3. I don't know. I got to
There's other apps you can get that'll do U2 at 3x, but yeah, you're right. It's hard. Most of the time I'm at 1.75 or 2, but yeah, that's what helps while I'm in the gym. That's what does it for me, man.
Genius, bro.
Yeah. All right.
I see. I'm just going to stay in the gym until new all-time highs. Come back like a fucking monster 8 years from now. Hey, man, it was good talking to you, bro.
Good talking to you, man. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, guys, for the rest of you, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for watching this. I want to say shout out to all the people at Paradise Challenge. That was a great week. Thank you to all the new people that are coming on the podcast, all the people that are coming on Instagram, and all of you that have been commenting on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Man, I really appreciate this growth. This is a roller coaster ride for me. I'm like I said, I'm hanging on by my fingernails. I got an awesome guest like Richard. I want to say thank you also to Rollo Tomasi, to Miguel, and to Justin Waller, because those guys helped me set this whole thing up. This is in this world, we got to network as much as we can. When you find people that have great ideas, people that you can learn from, you need to try to learn as much as you can. Richard has, regardless of what you think, even if you think that some of the stuff he says is controversial, he's been right, and I'd rather be right. You know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate him coming on. I will see all of you next week.